Chapter 297. After the explosion of the talisman, Ning Qing once again took out another talisman and threw it out. The cultivators on the sidelines were speechless. Just how many low-level talismans did this Ning Qing have? Humph. Talisman. Try hitting me with a low-level talisman. Only an idiot would think that Ning Qing relies on talismans. Ning Qing, you did a good job this time. The most important thing is that you know when to advance and when to retreat. I was afraid that you would not know when to advance and when to retreat, and would stay on the battle ring. Rui Baishan was very satisfied with Ning Qing's performance on the battle ring. Ning Qing once again returned to the battle platform. As he looked at the match on the stage and spoke in a somewhat lazy manner, this kind of lukewarm water competition, it really is not exciting at all. It's Lang Yu, ranked third in the preliminary round. He's an expert from the natural law school. There will be a good show to watch this time. The Rainbow Fall Sword Sect's Deputy Sect Master Tan Tai Fei gave a hearty laugh. Good, this replacement is really good, but Ning Qing should also come down. I didn't know he could win so many times in a row, so I didn't tell him some details. This was already Ning Qing's 13th win in a row, but Ning Qing found that something was wrong, because the interval between the people coming up was getting longer and longer. He had planned to win 80 matches in a row, but if things continued like this, it would be difficult for him to win 20 matches in a row. Heavenly Dao Academy's Lang Yu has come to ask for advice. This blue-robed cultivator simply cupped his fists towards Ning Qing as he spoke with an indifferent expression. Saying that, Ning Qing simply ignored Lang Yu's surprised look, and took the initiative to step down from the battle ring. Defeating Lang Yu was obviously not a problem. The problem was that he even defeated the cultivator ranked third. Who would dare to challenge him in the future? Moreover, because Lu Rumen and Shi Yong were blasted out of the battle ring by Ning Qing, and did not suffer even half a shred of injury, the number of people coming up to the battle ring to challenge Ning Qing also increased. Warm water. In a while, in the competition for the last 10 places, you will see what a life and death battle is. The cultivators on the stage are all fighting to the death. At this time they are just trying to obtain the qualifications for the final battle. Liang Kursen, who was standing beside Ning Qing, explained. On the stage, Lang Yu had already won 2 matches in a row. It was obvious that he was going to win the third match. Ning Qing suddenly felt a little dispirited. Even in this kind of big competition, there was only a virtual essence birthing bamboo pith, causing him to feel happy for nothing. Only he knew in his heart that Ning Qing was definitely not as simple as he looked on the surface. He was sure that Ning Qing's talisman would not have even the slightest effect on him, but the reason why Ning Qing used the talisman was because he was afraid that he would show off too much power, and no one would come up to the stage. Hearing the words of this crucible transformation elder, the cultivator called Jin Lin forcibly suppressed his own killing intent. Although he did not fear Ning Qing, but he still had to listen to the words of a crucible transformation elder. After Lang Yu stepped down from the stage, another golden-robed cultivator flew onto the stage. Red Star Sword Faction's Jin Lin, I would like to ask for your advice. Rui Baishan shook his head and spoke. The essence birthing bamboo pith is such a precious thing, how could it be casually taken out as a reward? That was just a bluff. Don't take it seriously. Not to mention the fact that no cultivator can win 80 matches, even if you can win, you will eventually be interrupted by others for various reasons. But I've won 50 matches before. This profound core cultivator spoke up in a puzzled manner. Senior apprentice brother Jiang, in the preliminary round of the profound core realm, I was evaluated to be ranked 9th. I've taken a look. So far, the one with the highest cultivation is only ranked around 30. Why did Ning Qing go up again? Even Elder Bei and the others who had just spoken to Ning Qing were somewhat puzzled. Ning Qing and the Red Star Sword faction had a conflict, as such it was not suitable for him to go up at this time. Since the Heavenly Dao Academy's Lang Yu came up, it means that he is not satisfied with you. Fortunately, you came down in time, and took care of everyone's face. Even if you want to fight with Lang Yu, you are not in a hurry, wait for the other major academies to obtain a certain number of points, then you can go and compete. Tan Tai Fei also spoke with a smile. Ning Cheng had obtained 14 points for the Rainbow Fall Sword sect, which was already considered as one of the great contributors. Even the Crucible Transformation elders here were all very kind towards Ning Cheng. Then the crowd saw Ning Cheng sneak behind Shi Yong amidst the countless exploding talismans, and sweep out with his spear. It was a very simple process, but Shi Yong did not notice it at all. Elder Bei patted Ning Cheng's shoulder and spoke with a smile, "This is very normal, after your consecutive victories on the stage, the other 9 major academies rarely sent their top experts up, this is a kind of tacit understanding. Otherwise, if the experts from the major academies were to fight it out, then there would not be much excitement in the later stages. Now that the great meet of the academies has formed this kind of tacit understanding, this kind of tacit understanding is recognized by everyone, that is why the headmaster said that it was a good thing for you to come down in time. As for the competition for the first place, when there are only a dozen or so people left, only then would they go all out." Ning Cheng would always use the same set of techniques, the ice attribute profound ice spear art, coupled with countless low-level talismans. Whenever anyone came up to the stage, Ning Cheng would always use the profound ice spear art to entangle the other party, and then take the opportunity to sprinkle out a handful of profound ice talismans, and then successfully launch a sneak attack. Finally, he would sweep the other party off the stage. This was already the same old routine. But this set of methods was a tried and tested method. Even some of the judging elders were frowning. The Tian continent's great meet of the academies, in fact, was mainly to select the top 10 academies. Moreover, these rules had been settled down for countless years, and were known to all the academies. The rules of the tournament were not only worth watching, but were also something to look forward to. Looking forward to who would have the most victories in the end, and who would finally take the first place. When Ning Cheng heard the words of the elders from the academy, he immediately spoke up. "In fact, it would be very difficult for anyone to obtain 50 points, and I was even thinking about the essence birthing bamboo pith. Those bastards from the Red Star Sword faction." Ning Cheng, without any hesitation, once again flew up to the battle platform. Liang Kursin did not even have the time to call out. Some of the cultivators who knew him came up to ask him, but he just shook his head and spoke, "I was not careful and ended up getting sneak attacked." All the people present understood the meaning of Tan Tai Fei's words. Ning Cheng now had 14 points, even if he did not take even a single point, this score was more than enough to reverse the Rainbow Fall Sword sect's disadvantage. As for Ning Cheng coming down, it was just an unspoken rule that everyone was aware of. Ning Cheng saw that Leng Yu had really won 7 consecutive rounds, and with an expressionless face, descended from the battle platform. The only thing that made everyone feel acceptable was that Ning Cheng's true essence was limited, although he had thrown all the people off the battle platform, but there was no one who was truly injured. As soon as Ning Cheng came down, Elder Bei immediately called Ning Cheng over. Ning Cheng waited for a while, but still no one came up. Just as he was feeling depressed in his heart, a young man wearing a blue robe landed on the battle platform. Ning Cheng looked at Leng Yu, and immediately knew that this person was a lot stronger than the previous profound core cultivators. Humph, this kid really thinks that he is the best under the heavens. Some of the top-ranked profound core cultivators were already feeling uncomfortable in their hearts. They had not even fought a single round, yet this guy had already come up on the stage. Did they still want to give out points to others? No wonder Liang Kursin had said that the first place was the winner. Moreover, what kind of reward would be given out based on the number of points? Ning Cheng still did not understand and asked, "If that is the case, then why did you set the reward for a net win of 50 or 80? What do you mean by knowing when to advance and when to retreat?" Ning Cheng asked with some doubts. When Ning Cheng came down from the battle platform with 13 consecutive victories, a lot of people were feeling somewhat unhappy. It was reasonable to say that this was the time to see who was more powerful between Ning Cheng and Leng Yu, yet Ning Cheng unexpectedly took the initiative to come down. 50 points is very difficult for people to obtain, but 30 points is not the first time someone has obtained it. Liang Kersen explained, Ning Cheng had come up too quickly before, causing her to not have enough time to explain. Although many people knew about the tacit understanding between the academies, but more than 90% of the cultivators in the audience did not care about this. What they cared about was the level of excitement of the tournament. Now that Ning Cheng had come up on the stage, it immediately attracted a burst of enthusiasm. A crucible transformation elder spoke up from the side, "What Jiang Jun said is right, you are not a match for that Ning Cheng. That Ning Cheng's skill is more than enough to enter the top 3, he could even enter the first place. He does not care about the feelings of the other academies, as he grinds for points, there would always be someone who would go up and deal with him first." However, they had now met a fellow who did not play his cards according to common sense. It was still far from the final stage to see who was more powerful, yet this Ning Cheng had already violated the rules. The problem was that even if they knew that Ning Cheng had violated the rules, they still had no reason to come out and stop the other party. Ning Cheng was defeated in such a hypocritical way, he was still excited to win a bottle of essence birthing bamboo pith, he did not expect that he would be met with such a bucket of cold water. With Shi Yong also being blasted down by Ning Cheng, the cultivators watching the tournament all knew that Ning Cheng seemed to have a few tricks up his sleeves. Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness was very powerful, as such he was able to hear these discussions. Instead, he cupped his fists towards Leng Yu and spoke, "Elder brother Leng looks very powerful, I might not necessarily be his opponent, I also want to go down and rest." Even a high-level expert would not be able to block a handful of talismans. After all the people saw the long spear in Ning Cheng's hands, countless talismans were blasted out. In the midst of the dense explosions of the low-level talismans, the sound of the true essence explosions from the two people's magical weapons became insignificant. Red Star Sword Faction's Jiang Jun stopped a profound core cultivator covered in a murderous aura from rushing up the battle ring. "Junior apprentice brother Jin Lin, don't go up. This person is pretending to be a pig to eat the tiger, you are definitely not his opponent. The hatred between me and him is as deep as the sea, I will definitely look for an opportunity to kill him." Bang! Even if Shi Yong was wearing a silver armor, Ning Cheng's spear almost broke all of his bones. Just like Lu Rumen, he was directly swept off the battle ring. Even his few defensive magical weapons, also fell to his side. After Shi Yong got up, he just patted the dust off his body and put away his magical weapons, while his face was very calm. Ning Cheng had shown mercy, he was very clear in his heart. Ning Cheng did not know that he had provoked the anger of the crowd, but he was aware that he had violated the unwritten rules. Even so, Ning Cheng was not the slightest bit afraid. In any case, after the tournament, he would fly away to a faraway place, so why would he care about the north, south, east or west? Regardless of the outcome of the tournament, as long as he took the prize and left, everything else would have nothing to do with him. The 10 major academies, as well as some of the cultivators who are qualified to be promoted to the 10 major academies, after winning a certain number of matches in a row, they will take the initiative to come down, leaving some points for the others. The real competition for the first place in the profound core realm, will only start when there are only a dozen or so people left. The last person standing on the battle ring, without anyone challenging him, will be the first. Although in most cases, the first place will be the one with the highest score, but this is not absolute. Elder Bei explained. Chapter 298. I have long wanted to teach you a lesson, now that you are courting death, then I will fulfill your wish. Jin Lin's mouth revealed a trace of ferociousness, as he raised his hand and shot a blue sword shadow towards Ning Cheng. When the sword shadow shot out, it was just a blue sword chi, but in the blink of an eye, Ning Cheng was completely surrounded by wave after wave of sword line waves. Ning Cheng immediately knew that Jin Lin was much more powerful than all the cultivators he had fought before on this stage. Moreover, the other party's sword line waves were a bit similar to his axe line. This kind of true essence killing intent was the most difficult to form. Ning Cheng had a deep understanding of the act's intent, as such he obviously understood this point. At the same time, Ning Cheng's profound break spear trembled, as the 36 profound ice sword shadows shot out. Chong chong. Dense killing intents collided with each other on the battle ring, as the dense sword lines fell onto the spear-like net formed by Ning Cheng's 36 profound ice spears, and were unable to advance even an inch further. Ning Cheng's spear-like net was unexpectedly able to block his sword lines. Jin Lin could not believe it. He crazily stimulated his true essence, as wave after wave of sword lines bombarded Ning Cheng's spear-like net. Boom! The sword line waves finally burst open, completely tearing apart Ning Cheng's 36 profound ice spear-like net. The powerful true essence backlash caused Jin Lin to retreat a few steps back. Ning Cheng did not move, but in his heart he had some admiration for Jin Lin's strength. For ordinary profound core cultivators, for them to cultivate to the level of Jin Lin, it would not be an exaggeration to say that they would have few opponents on the same level. But Jin Lin's complexion changed. He had crazily stimulated the sword line waves a moment ago, but unexpectedly could not even shake Ning Cheng in the slightest. This Ning Cheng was simply too terrifying. It was clear that Jiang Jun and the Crucible Transformation Elder were not wrong. Ning Cheng's strength was definitely much more powerful than him. Take my sword again. As Jin Lin spoke, the blue sword in his hand directly cut through the air, as the blue sword brought out a wide sword light that was more than 10 feet long. The might of this sword light seemed to be able to split the entire arena apart, and everything under this sword light would be turned into powder by the sword light. A blood chi gushed out from the top of Jin Lin's head. Even a fool would know that Jin Lin's sword had the potential to the point that he did not even hesitate to burn his essence blood. From this, it could be seen that he would not rest until he killed Ning Cheng. Break for me! Jin Lin roared again while the huge sword light was still in the air. He had already deeply experienced Ning Cheng's strength and knew that if he did not use his trump card, then he would not be able to do anything to Ning Cheng. Katka, boom! The blue sword light exploded onto the spear-like net that Ning Cheng had just condensed, giving out a cracking sound. The 36 profound ice spear shadows were blown away, but Ning Cheng, who was burning his essence blood, was forced to retreat a few steps. But at this time, not only did the blue sword light not dim, but it also extended and widened. The violent sword intent that swept down seemed to want to shred Ning Cheng into pieces before it stopped. Ning Cheng turned furious. He did not put Jin Lin in his eyes, yet this fellow really thought that he could kill him by burning his essence blood. The profound break spear trembled, as it gave out intermittent whimpering sounds. Some of the cultivators with high cultivation were very clear that the whimpering sounds coming from Ning Cheng's profound break spear, in addition to the stimulation of the spear intent, was also mainly due to the cracks on the spearhead. If the spearhead did not have any cracks, then the strength of this spear would have more than doubled. Boom! The profound ice spear exploded on top of the descending blue sword light, bringing with it a burst of berserk true essence vortex. Jin Lin's chest felt stifled, as his true essence started to tumble, and he could not help but spurt out a mouthful of essence blood. When he saw that Ning Cheng did not retreat even half a step, and the spear in his hands once again condensed into a spear-like blade, his heart immediately sank. At this moment, he fully understood that the difference between him and Ning Cheng was not just a little bit, it was not even on the same level. It was just like the gap between the profound core realm and the soul essence realm. Although he was evaluated as the 9th, but in his heart, even Lang Yu, who was ranked 3rd, was not necessarily more powerful than him. But he, unexpectedly had such a big gap between him and Ning Cheng. Thinking of the gap between the profound core realm and the soul essence realm, Jin Lin's heart turned cold. How was this possible? Was this person hiding his cultivation? He was already a soul essence realm cultivator, so why did he choose to hide his cultivation in the profound core realm? Just as these thoughts flashed through his mind, the long spear had already arrived in front of Jin Lin's glabella, as if it had passed through a thin layer of paper. Despair and fear welled up in Jean Lin's heart, but this kind of emotion was instantly engulfed by a kind of darkness, before it disappeared without a trace. Pata. Jean Lin's body fell to the ground like a ball of rags. The surroundings immediately turned silent, although everyone did not know the rules, but they were very clear that no matter what level of competition it was, the more it progressed, the more interesting it would be. Now that the Profound Core Realm competition had just started, it was already so exciting. One of the top 10 academies, the Red Star Sword faction, a cultivator who was evaluated as the 9th in the preliminary round, was killed with a single spear strike. After a moment of silence, it was accompanied by bursts of enthusiastic roars and applause. The cultivators watching the fight did not care about who you were, what they wanted to see was hot blood and excitement. The Red Star Sword faction's crucible transformation elder Tang Gongshi clenched his fists. He could not wait to immediately step onto the stage and kill Ningcheng. The Red Star Sword faction had a total of 2 Profound Core cultivators who entered the preliminary round, which was the lowest among the top 10 academies. But now these 2 Profound Core cultivators were both killed by Ningcheng. Leng Yu of the Natural Law School, come up and have a try. Leng Yu, who had just left the arena, unexpectedly went up for the second time. This was something that was impossible to happen in the previous competitions, but it had actually happened. Now not only did Ningcheng ignore the tacit understanding of the tournament, but the other academies also began to ignore this tacit understanding. All the people present were aware that the finals of the Profound Core Realm had already begun ahead of time. Ningcheng's actions aroused the dissatisfaction of the Profound Core experts from the other academies, but this kind of dissatisfaction could only be resolved through the tournament platform. Whoever had the bigger fist would speak. I came up just now, and you went down. I hope you don't go down again this time, lest I have to come up again the next time you come up. Leng Yu's tone was icy cold, overflowing with killing intent. Ningcheng showed a faint smile. You think too highly of yourself. The reason I went down was because I was afraid that no one would dare to challenge me again. Since I can't get 80 points no matter what, there's no need to keep going up and down. It's so troublesome. Arrogant. Leng Yu mocked. At the same time, his hand trembled slightly. Ningcheng did not see any kind of magical weapon, nor did he see any kind of sneak attack, but he could feel an icy cold killing intent shrouding him. At this time, Ningcheng's powerful spiritual consciousness manifested itself, as a faintly discernible thin thread, like a long knife, swept towards Ningcheng. With such a powerful killing intent, Ningcheng was sure that even if his strength was equivalent to a late-stage soul essence cultivator, once he was caught by this thin thread, he would end up in 2 halves. Ningcheng was shocked in his heart. Sure enough, no cultivator could be underestimated. Leng Yu was just a Profound Core cultivator, yet he was able to bring out a magical weapon that even an ordinary spiritual consciousness could not detect. This person simply had the strength of an early-stage soul essence cultivator. He was definitely an expert who could jump ranks to challenge others. Once Ningcheng seriously dealt with Leng Yu, even if there were a few Leng Yes, it would not be enough for Ningcheng to kill. Leng Yu's thin thread had not yet split into 2, when Ningcheng's profound break spear had already wrapped around the thin thread. At the same time, the profound break spear in Ningcheng's hands also began to move a few times. The thin thread, which even spiritual consciousness could not detect, was instantly wrapped around by Ningcheng's profound break spear and swept away. Even if Leng Yu forcibly used his spiritual sense to retrieve his magical weapon, it was like mud entering the sea, without any trace. A killing intent space suddenly formed around Leng Yu, causing his heart to turn cold in an instant. Ningcheng had used a broken middle-grade spiritual artifact to take away his best quality spiritual artifact, while also trapping him within. At this time, if Ningcheng wanted to kill him, it would be as easy as flipping his palm. He would not even have the slightest ability to resist. How could a Profound Core cultivator be powerful to such a degree? Even in the hands of a soul essence cultivator, he could still communicate with his drifting space mist line. Now that Ningcheng had taken away his flowing space mist thread, he had no way to communicate with it. It was laughable that when he had first stepped onto the stage, he was still thinking about how to teach Ning Cheng a lesson, and then coldly spoke to Ning Cheng, "For the sake of senior apprentice brother Li Lingfan's face, I will not kill you, so don't take yourself too seriously." However, at this moment, he felt that the situation was completely the opposite. At this moment, he did not dare to move. He knew that if Ning Cheng wanted to kill him at this time, he simply could not do anything about it. He could only resign himself to fate and wait for Ning Cheng's decision. "For the sake of Li Lingfan's face, I will not kill you, you can go down now." Ning Cheng calmly spoke out the words that Leng Yu had wanted to say before. Although he let Leng Yu go, but he did not return Leng Yu's magical weapon, the drifting space mist line. Leng Yu's face turned ashen as he walked down the battle ring, without even half a shred of his previous arrogance. How is this possible? Did Leng Yu lose? Leng Yu was ranked third in the preliminary round of the Profound Core Realm, how could he lose? Moreover, how could he lose so easily? Nothing is impossible, it can only be said that this Ning Cheng is much more powerful than what everyone imagined. Let's make a guess, is it the second-ranked disciple of the Severing Emotions Dao sect, Deng Xiaoye, or is it the first-ranked disciple of the Thousand Zen Monastery, Nie Xingxian? A delicate and pretty girl from the Severing Emotions Dao sect was pulled back by another female cultivator, junior apprentice Sister Xiaoye. "You are currently not Ning Cheng's opponent, do not go up. Moreover, Ning Cheng has also saved my life, maybe in the future, he might even be the person that senior apprentice Sister Ingde fell in love with, you do not have to come up." "Yes, senior apprentice Sister Bu," after the girl called Bu Mei replied, she did not move again. Thousand Zen Monastery's disciple Nie Xingxian has come to ask for advice from elder brother Ning. A monk with a few scars on his head landed on the battle ring. Ning Cheng looked at Nie Xingxian in doubt and spoke, "Are you a monk, or a monk?" Nie Xingxian touched his bald head in a simple and honest manner and spoke, "Yes, I am a monk." "Since you are a monk, then why do you still want to compete with others?" Ning Cheng asked. If it was before, he would definitely not have spoken such nonsense. But now Ning Cheng knew that even if he defeated Nie Xingxian, it would still be impossible for him to obtain 80 points. As for whether Nie Xingxian would fight or not, it simply did not matter. "What you said is also true." Nie Xingxian replied in a simple and honest manner. The next moment he brought out a gray-colored Buddhist staff. The Buddhist staff brought out millions of staff shadows, as it pounced towards Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng did not expect that Nie Xingxian, who looked so simple and honest, would actually be so shameless and cunning. Chapter 299. Nie Xingxian's attack clearly showed that he wanted to use his powerful true essence to crush Ning Cheng, but Ning Cheng simply did not even bother to dodge, not to mention bringing out a defensive magical weapon. The profound break spear also rolled up the imposing aura of true essence, before exploding forward. Some of the cultivators with high cultivations could see that Ning Cheng wanted to go head-to-head with Nie Xingxian. Boom boom boom. The Buddhist staff and the profound break spear collided together, causing a terrifying true essence vortex to erupt out. This kind of true essence vortex began to swirl around the battle ring, such that even the cultivators below the battle ring could clearly see it. Some of the cultivators with not very high cultivations could see that Ning Cheng and Nie Xingxian's true essence seemed to be on par with each other. Only Nie Xingxian, who was personally involved in the fight, knew that Ning Cheng's true essence was much more powerful than his own. Ning Cheng's profound break spear was only a medium-grade spiritual artifact. Moreover, he could feel that Ning Cheng had wrapped the profound break spear with a layer of true essence, as if he was afraid that the spear would be damaged. Even so, he did not gain the slightest advantage. Nie Xingxian suddenly waved the Buddhist staff in his hand, and instantly pulled it out from the terrifying vortex of true essence. At the same time, more than a dozen staff shadows appeared, and these staff shadows actually formed a rudimentary confinement array. Ning Cheng simply stopped and continued with his actions. With his ability, he could instantly prevent Nie Xingxian's staff shadow array formation from forming. However, he really wanted to see what was so special about the staff shadow array formed by the monk. The magic skills of some large sects were very powerful. It was always a good thing to know more. Today it was Nie Xingxian who had used the staff shadow array formation on him. If in the future it was replaced by a soul essence cultivator, or even a soul sculpting cultivator, then it would not be easy for him to deal with them. "Brother Ning, why don't you make a move?" Seeing Ning Cheng holding the profound break spear, and quietly waiting for his own staff shadow array formation to take shape, while Nie Xingxian's staff shadow gradually dissipated, he also stopped and asked in doubt. Ning Cheng really did not know whether this Nie Xingxian was really honest or really cunning, as he spoke up in a speechless manner, "I'm waiting for you to start, you don't have to worry about me, just start." "All right." Nie Xingxian replied with a single word, and then suddenly added another sentence, "Brother Ning, just a moment ago, how much of your strength did you use? 20%. Ning Cheng spoke with a smile, he was sure that this monk would never believe his words. 20% of his true essence, unexpectedly made me unable to advance even an inch, so powerful. Nie Xingxian muttered to himself, unexpectedly believing Ning Cheng's words. After Nie Xingxian finished talking to himself, he put away his Buddhist staff and said, "I am not an opponent for Brother Ning, many thanks for Brother Ning's mercy." "You believe me?" Ning Cheng looked at Nie Xingxian and asked in a somewhat puzzled manner. In his opinion, Nie Xingxian had a simple face but was actually a treacherous one, so how could he believe his words? Nie Xingxian quickened his pace as he walked down the battle ring, while simultaneously speaking, "Brother Ning's words, this little monk naturally believes them." As Nie Xingxian walked down the battle arena, many of the spectating cultivators failed to react. Originally they were looking forward to a showdown between a dragon and a tiger, but Nie Xingxian, who was ranked first in the preliminary round, had only exchanged a single move with Ning Cheng, before taking the initiative to admit defeat and step down from the stage. Or rather, he was scared away by Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng held on to his profound break spear in a somewhat depressed manner, as he stood in the middle of the battle ring. He knew that there would not be anyone else coming up to the stage for a short period of time. But he definitely wouldn't go down. Since he wanted something good, he had to persevere. After Nie Xingxian went down, sure enough, no one came up. Although there were still many cultivators in the preliminary round who had yet to fight, but no one came up. When a person's cultivation was far more powerful than those in the same realm, moreover this person did not care about the tacit understanding between the academies, the loopholes in the rules of the finals could be seen at a glance. Despite the heckling of the spectating cultivators under the battle ring, no one was willing to come up to the battle ring and fight against Ning Cheng. No one was willing to witness the bloody battle in the finals, as such no cultivator would feel comfortable. "Headmaster, why don't we let Liang Shi come up to the stage and call Ning Cheng down?" A crucible transformation elder from the Rainbow Fall Sword sect really could not stand it anymore. Rui Baishan shook his head and spoke, "Let him be, Ning Cheng already knows the rules, yet he still chose to stay up there and not come down, presumably he has his own ideas. Elder Bei, you come with me." Elder Bei was also very worried about Ning Cheng. Now that the headmaster had called for him, he immediately followed Rui Baishan to a private room. "Elder Bei, you have the most contact with Ning Cheng, how much do you know about Ning Cheng? Speak it out." Rui Baishan went straight to the point. Elder Bei hesitated for a moment, before he shook his head and spoke, "I don't know much about Ning Cheng, I only know a bit about him from Ning Cheng's friend, the Rainbow Fall Sword sect's true inheriting disciple Liang Kursen. Later on, I also went to investigate some of the circumstances, and came to the conclusion that Ning Cheng had gone to the Mirage Gazing Island. If I did not guess wrong, then Ning Cheng should have gone to the Mirage Ship Island. His 9-colored Mirage Stone should be something that he obtained from the Mirage Ship Island. On the Mirage Ship Island, to be able to find the 9-colored Mirage Tree, it would definitely require a huge amount of luck. Since Ning Cheng was able to obtain a 9-colored Mirage Stone, then it shows that he might have the remaining 8 9-colored mirage stones. Rui Baishan nodded. Headmaster. Elder Bei looked at the headmaster in surprise. Rui Baishan waved his hand and spoke, Elder Bei, you don't have to worry about it, even if each of the 9-colored mirage stones is a priceless treasure, I will not covet the things of a disciple. Since Ning Qing obtained so much at once, then presumably he would have his own ideas. If I have not guessed wrong, then after this tournament, Ning Qing would definitely choose to flee to a faraway place. It is precisely because he has already made up his mind, that he would definitely stand on the battle platform, and force out the prizes. Headmaster, why don't I go and persuade Ning Qing, to let him come down, and then go back to the academy to go into seclusion? Elder Bei hesitated for a moment before speaking. Rui Baishan shook his head slightly, if Ning Qing only obtained a 9-colored mirage stone, then your method would be quite good. However, if Ning Qing obtained the 9 mirage stones, then even if Ning Qing went into seclusion, there would still be countless people who would come looking for the Rainbow Fall Sword sect. Although my Rainbow Fall Sword sect is not afraid of anyone's threats, but it is simply impossible for us to fight against so many academies. Ning Qing choosing to leave the academy is the right choice. I'm afraid that Ning Qing would bring endless disasters to the academy. Elder Bei spoke in a worried voice. Rui Baishan stood up, as he gave a calm smile and spoke, my Rainbow Fall Sword sect has been established for countless years, what kind of wind and rain we have gone through, why would we be afraid of some thieves? Saying that, Rui Baishan took out a jade box and handed it to Elder Bei and spoke, there is an escape talisman in here, after Ning Qing comes down from the battle ring, you can help me give it to him. I can only help him with this much. Do you want to tell Ning Qing, to let him leave as soon as possible? Elder Bei put away the jade box and asked. Rui Baishan gave a faint smile and spoke, he will know when to leave. Ning Qing had already stood on the battle ring for a full hour, but there was still no one who came up to challenge him. At this time Ning Qing even took out a chair and sat down in the middle of the battle ring. The finals of the Profound Core Realm had already reached this point, it was no longer wonderful, but rather a farce. No matter where it was, at this moment, there was a lot of noise, as people were talking about it. At this time, a black-bearded old man flew up and landed on the battle ring. Ning Qing on seeing this, quickly put away his chair, these past few days he had seen a lot of experts. This old man was giving off a powerful aura, allowing Ning Qing to immediately understand that this person was a powerhouse not inferior to Xiao Bisheng, this kind of powerhouse could turn him into ashes in a matter of seconds. Ning Qing greets Senior. Ning Qing quickly gave a respectful bow to the old man. The black-bearded old man looked at Ning Qing and gave a meaningful smile, then nodded, before turning to the quiet crowd under the stage and spoke, I am the Heaven Alliance's Dao Master Mu Ziming, and am also one of the judges for this Tian Continent's Great Meet of the Academies. From this Profound Core Realm tournament, it can be seen that there are some loopholes in the rules of the Tian Continent's Great Meet of the Academies. After this Great Meet, we will have to reformulate the rules of the Great Meet of the Academies. The people under the stage immediately burst into a sensation, even if there was no wonderful match, this matter was already wonderful enough. Unexpectedly, because of the strength of a profound core cultivator, the rules of the Tian Continent's Great Meet of the Academies had to be changed. Mu Ziming used his hand to suppress the noise, and continued, now I announce that for this Tian Continent's Great Meet of the Academies, Ning Qing is the first in the Profound Core Realm, are there any cultivators who have any objections? If there are any objections then come up to the stage, if there are no objections, then it is decided. Ning Qing being the first, there was no one who had any objections. Ning Qing had defeated several powerful experts, and looked very relaxed, as if he did not even put his life on the line, who would be willing to fight against such a person. Everyone knew that this Tian Continent's Great Meet of the Academies would set a record that no one would be able to break. If the rules of the tournament were changed because of a single cultivator, then there was a possibility that it would be broken. However, the Great Meet had only gone through less than half of the tournament, and yet the first place had already been decided. Moreover, no one had any objections to this first place, which was absolutely unprecedented in history, and most likely would not be broken by any of the later generations. The public square that had just quietened down, once again became noisy because of this matter. Although we have decided on the first place, but the following matches still have to be carried out, and we still have to compete for the other rankings. Mu Ziming's voice suppressed the noise of the entire public square, saying that he turned around and looked at Ning Cheng with a smile. What do you think? Ning Cheng quickly bowed once again and spoke, Dao Master's decision. Ning Cheng naturally has no objections, it's just that I originally wanted a bottle of essence birthing bamboo pith. It doesn't matter, just tell me what you need. Mu Ziming gave a simple reply. Ning Cheng also no longer remained polite. Senior, this junior only wants a top-quality soul condensing pill, plus a bottle of essence birthing bamboo pith. I do not want anything else. Although Ning Cheng knew that in front of a Dao Master, it was very dangerous for him to speak at this moment, but in order to escape in the future, he had no choice but to do so. Just these two? Mu Ziming asked with some doubts. He had thought that Ning Cheng would definitely be asking for an exorbitant price. Although Ning Cheng's request for the essence birthing bamboo pith was also like an exorbitant price, but it was much better than what he had expected, which gave him a good impression in his heart. Just these two? Ning Cheng spoke with certainty. Mu Ziming nodded, I'll give you these two. Saying that, Mu Ziming took out 2 jade bottles and threw them to Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng did not hesitate to receive them and put them away. Many thanks, senior. In the future, if this junior has the ability, then I will definitely repay today's kindness. Ning Cheng was not a fool, he was able to understand the meaning behind Mu Ziming's words. These two things were not provided by the Look Continent's great meat, but rather were provided by Mu Ziming himself. Besides, even if it was provided by the great meat, they would not give out the prizes at this time. You can go down now, take care of yourself. Yes. After Ning Cheng cupped his fists, he quickly withdrew from the battle platform. Ning Cheng had changed the rules of the great meat for many years, and even let a Dao Master personally come up to the stage to invite him down. It was enough to cause a sensation throughout the Tian continent. Because of Ning Cheng's departure, the Profound Core Division's battle platform once again started to fight. The Tian continent's top 10 academies also meant a lot of resources, as such no one was willing to fall behind. Moreover, as the competition continued, it was also getting more and more exciting. Ning Cheng immediately prepared to leave after coming down from the battle platform. As for whether Yin Kongchan and Su Yingde would leave with him, he simply did not care. Chapter 300. What Ning Cheng did not expect was that when he won the first place for the academy, not only did not an elder come to see him, but the first person to come to see him was unexpectedly Xian Caixue. Regarding the name of Xian Caixue, Ning Cheng had heard it from Elder Bei. The reason why he was able to participate in the tournament was because he had replaced Xian Caixue's quota. Senior Apprentice Brother Ning, this is what Elder Bei asked me to bring to you, it is a reward from the headmaster. Xian Caixue handed a jade box to Ning Cheng and spoke. Then I will go and thank the headmaster and Elder Bei. Ning Cheng received the jade box and spoke. Xian Caixue quickly stopped Ning Cheng and spoke, no, I heard that headmaster and the others are discussing a very important matter, and are not free right now. Ning Cheng had been in the true cultivation world for many years, and was also a smart person. As soon as Xian Caixue said those words, he knew something was wrong. This was the most crucial time for the Profound Core Division's tournament, moreover he had just won the first place, as such the academy would not discuss such an important matter at this time. Thinking of this, Ning Cheng immediately opened the jade box to take a look. When Ning Cheng discovered that the jade box contained an advanced level escaping talisman, he completely understood. Sovereign Rui Baishan had given him an escape talisman, not only as a reward, but also as a reminder to him. That was to leave as soon as possible. There was no need to linger. Ning Cheng quickly put away the jade box, and spoke to Xian Caixue. Many thanks junior apprentice Sister Xian, I was able to obtain the first place thanks to your quota. Here is a pill for you. If there is a reward for the first place, I will have to trouble senior Sister Xian to help me collect it. If not, then forget it. I have something urgent to attend to. After Ning Cheng gave the top-quality soul-condensing pills that he had obtained from Su Yingde to Xian Caixue, he hurriedly left the place. He was not even in the mood to meet Liang Curson. Xian Caixue opened the jade bottle in her hand in doubt. When she saw that there was a soul-concentrating pill in the jade bottle, her hand almost trembled. This kind of pill was simply too precious. She had just given up a spot, yet Ning Cheng actually gave her such a precious pill. Ning Cheng found a place with no one around, and immediately left using stealth. After the time it takes for half an incense stick to burn, he turned into a street corner. After a few breaths, a short grey shadow quickly rushed out from the corner of the street and quickly entered another street. It wasn't unusual for a small pet beast to suddenly leave its owner on the streets. It happened every day. Some were captured, while others managed to escape. However, this small grey thing was extremely fast. In a short time, it had left the plaza. This was a pet beast that hadn't even reached level 3. Many people with high cultivation levels had seen it, but no one was so bored as to capture such a low-level pet beast that didn't even look like much. Of course, this was also because the pet beast was running too fast. If it had been a little slower, people might have actually chased after it. Ning Cheng had just left when Su Yingde of the Severing Emotions Dao sect arrived. Senior apprentice brother Ning had some urgent matters to attend to and had to leave. Why don't I wait for senior apprentice brother Ning to come back, and then send you a message? Xian Caixue on hearing that they were looking for Ning Cheng quickly came up to greet them. Ning Cheng had just given her a soul-condensing pill. This kind of kindness was not just a small one or two. At this time, how could she still feel even half a bit depressed? In her heart, she was just glad that she had stood up before Liangshi, and gave up the spot to Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng left. Another voice arrived, but the one who spoke was not Su Yingde, but rather Yin Kongchan, who was following closely behind Su Yingde. Yin Kongchan and Su Yingde glanced at each other, before they left the Rainbow Falls Sword Sect station together, leaving behind a puzzled Xian Caixue. If senior apprentice Sister Luo Xian was the most beautiful woman in the Rainbow Falls Sword Sect, then Yin Kongchan and Su Yingde's appearance could even surpass senior apprentice Sister Xian. But these two stunning women unexpectedly teamed up to look for senior apprentice brother Ning Cheng, who only had the cultivation of profound core realm. However, Xian Caixue thought that senior apprentice brother Ning Cheng was able to change the rules of the Tian continent's great meet of the academies, was able to win the first place in advance, and was not afraid of the crucible transformation cultivators from the Red Star Sword faction. At this time, the grey pet beast had already run out of the Heavenly Dao public square, and stopped in a deserted place. The next moment, Ning Cheng's figure appeared. This grey pet beast was none other than his grey Toot Toot. Ning Cheng knew that since the headmaster had told him to escape, it indicated that the situation was getting more and more serious. He did not dare to escape the Heavenly Dao public square by himself, and could only rely on grey Toot Toot to escape with his miniature world ring. If grey Toot Toot ended up caught, then he would have to cut off all means of retreat and directly escape. Fortunately, grey Toot Toot's level was too low, so even if some people discovered grey Toot Toot, no one really paid any attention to it. After Ning Cheng came out, he immediately picked up grey Toot Toot, and simultaneously stimulated the twin wings of the heavenly clouds, before disappearing into the distance. He did not immediately use Yin Kongchan's talisman. Towards this woman, he still had some doubts. However, Ning Cheng soon felt that something was wrong, as a spiritual consciousness locked onto him. Moreover, this spiritual consciousness was getting clearer and clearer, in other words, this person was getting closer and closer to him. Ning Cheng was greatly shocked in his heart, when he stimulated the twin wings of the heavenly clouds, his speed was definitely incomparably fast, yet this person was unexpectedly able to catch up with him. It could be seen that this person's cultivation was at least a sea-opening realm cultivator, or even a crucible transformation cultivator. If the other party was a crucible transformation cultivator, then even if he used a rank 7 talisman, he absolutely would not be able to escape from the other party's tracking. Besides, he would not have enough time to use it. Ning Qing immediately gave up on the idea of using the talisman. As for the talisman given to him by the headmaster, not to mention that Ning Qing had not carefully examined it to see if there was any problem with it. Even if he had examined it to see if there was any problem with it, he would not be able to stimulate it at this moment. The spiritual consciousness that was chasing him was getting closer and closer. Ning Qing was sure that as long as he dared to delay for a few breaths, the other party would be able to stop him. Moreover, for him to stimulate a high-level talisman that he had not refined, it was definitely not something that could be achieved in a few breaths. The only thing that Ning Qing could do at this moment, was to crazily stimulate the twin wings of the heavenly clouds. He did not even have the time to stimulate the true Brahma Buddha fire wheel. Under the crazy stimulation of the twin wings of the heavenly clouds by Ning Qing, the spiritual consciousness that was getting clearer and clearer finally did not continue to approach him, but Ning Qing also did not pull away from him. Twin wings of the heavenly clouds. Good kid, the secrets on your body are really not small. No wonder you were able to obtain the 9-colored profound stone. It turns out that you have such a treasure on you. A man wearing a mask spoke with a sneer. This man's body had now completely turned into a faintly discernible shadow, as he closely followed Ning Qing. He did not use a flight-type magical weapon. He was very clear that with Ning Qing's twin wings of the heavenly clouds, ordinary flight-type magical weapons would not be able to catch up to him. Moreover, the twin wings of the heavenly clouds were very flexible. It could change direction at any time, and then disappear without a trace. At this time, he was completely relying on his powerful true essence and spiritual consciousness to closely follow Ning Qing. Although the twin wings of the heavenly clouds was powerful, but it could not last for long. Using the twin wings of the heavenly clouds also required a powerful true essence and spiritual consciousness. Once his true essence and spiritual consciousness could no longer hold on, it would immediately slow down. Therefore, this man was not afraid that Ning Qing would be able to escape from his hands. He was confident that his spiritual consciousness and true essence were far stronger than Ning Qing. But after 2 hours, this man felt that something was wrong. Even if Ning Qing's true essence was more profound, it was not possible for it to be this powerful, right? Because even with his true essence, he was sure that if he continued for another hour, then his speed would definitely drop. Ning Qing's speed not only did not decrease, but the twin wings of the heavenly clouds was even more frantic. At this time, Ning Qing was even more grateful to Mu Ziming. If not for Mu Ziming giving him a bottle of essence birthing bamboo pith, he would have already been caught by this guy. He was also glad that he had tempered his powerful spiritual consciousness in the chaotic star space. It was because of this powerful spiritual consciousness that he was able to support himself until now. The heaven-defying effect of the essence birthing bamboo pith was undoubtedly revealed in this kind of situation. No matter how much true essence Ning Qing consumed, as long as he drank a small mouthful, his true essence would be completely restored. After another hour, Ning Qing finally put away the bottle of essence birthing bamboo pith, which he had already drunk a third of. He knew that he was safe, because the spiritual consciousness behind him was getting more and more blurry, before it finally disappeared. After the spiritual consciousness completely disappeared, Ning Qing brought out the airship and flew for half a day, before he finally stopped on a desolate small slope. In any case, he had escaped from the dangerous whirlpool. Resting on the small slope for the time it took for an incense stick to burn, Ning Qing made a simple plan for the things that he had to do in the future. He first had to look for the geocentric 9-ene essence. Whether or not he found it, he had to leave the Tian continent, this dangerous place. At least before he had the strength to protect himself, he could not easily come back. Unfortunately, other than using the escape talisman from the bottom of the Blood River, there was no other way for him to return to the 9 continents. Even if he had enough power of hope, he would not be able to borrow the true Brahma Buddha fire to reincarnate. He had come to the Tian continent because of luck. In that kind of chaotic star space, he did not have any direction, as such who knew where the Buddha fire wheel would end up. Ning Cheng took out the talisman given to him by Yin Kongchan and carefully looked at it, but did not find any problems with it. On this talisman, there was only his, Yin Kongchan's and Su Yingdai's spiritual consciousness tag. But he did not know if he would be able to use this talisman to reach the predetermined place after escaping so far away. Regardless of whether he could reach it or not, Ning Cheng did not care about it. If he could not reach it, then it meant that he still had no fate with the geocentric 9 Yin essence. Ning Cheng stimulated the escape talisman in his hands, causing the escape talisman to emit a burst of halos. The next moment these halos wrapped around Ning Cheng and teleported him away. How was this an escape marking talisman? This was simply a small transmission talisman. Ning Cheng suddenly felt his heart tighten, in case Yin Kongchan plotted against him, and used this transmission talisman to teleport him to the predetermined place, then wouldn't he be delivering himself to her door? A burst of dizziness showed that Ning Cheng was undergoing a space shift, and in just a short period of time, Ning Cheng had already set his feet on the ground. When he saw the wilderness around him, his incomparably nervous heart finally calmed down a bit. Fortunately, Yin Kongchan had not deceived him. When he found that there was not even a shadow of a person in the surrounding hundreds of miles, Ning Cheng's first reaction was that Yin Kongchan and Su Yingdai should not have arrived yet. After all, the two of them were going to participate in the Academy's Soul Essence competition. However, Ning Cheng soon felt that something was different. The escape talisman in his hand still had 3 traces on it. These were the spiritual consciousness tags of the 3 people. In addition to his spiritual consciousness, Yin Kongchan and Su Yingdai's spiritual consciousness tags were still fluctuating. Ning Cheng was an expert in refining talismans, although he had not refined any spiritual consciousness tags or escape talismans, but he knew that these fluctuations indicated that the distance between the 2 people and him was not very far. Chapter 301. Ning Cheng was just about to go over, when he felt a strong spatial fluctuation, and 2 shadows brushed past Ning Cheng's side and disappeared without a trace. At the same time, Yin Kongchan sent out a spiritual sense message, "Hurry up and leave." Not waiting for Ning Cheng to move, a horrifying imposing aura swept over. Ning Cheng was greatly shocked in his heart. Without even thinking about it, he immediately stimulated the twin wings of the heavenly clouds, disappearing from where he stood. Bang! An explosion resounded, and the place where Ning Cheng was just standing a moment ago, turned into dust. Ning Cheng was shocked. This kind of powerful expert, he simply did not have any way to contend against it. This was at least a cultivator at the late stages of soul sculpting realm. At this time, Ning Cheng could no longer blame Yin Kongchan, as he once again stimulated the twin wings of the heavenly clouds, and in just a short time caught up with Yin Kongchan and Su Yingdai. Just when Ning Cheng wanted to surpass the 2 of them and continue to escape, Yin Kongchan suddenly spoke up, "Take us with you, you won't be able to find this place by yourself." Although Ning Cheng hated Yin Kongchan for bringing disaster to him, but he still had to listen to Yin Kongchan's words. He raised his hand and grabbed Yin Kongchan and Su Yingdai's back. The 2 of them knew what Ning Cheng wanted to do. Although they did not like Ning Cheng's rough actions, they did not resist. Ning Cheng carried Yin Kongchan and Su Yingdai, and once again quickly stimulated the twin wings of the heavenly clouds, while the soul-sculpting realm cultivator behind him disappeared without a trace. Previously, a fellow with a crucible transformation cultivation could not even catch up to him, but now that he was facing a soul-sculpting realm cultivator, Ning Cheng obviously did not care about it. On a flat ground, Ning Cheng threw Yin Kongchan and Su Yingdai down. Yin Kongchan and Su Yingdai both seemed to be in a daze. They did not think that Ning Cheng would suddenly throw them down, causing them to suddenly stagger. If not for the 2 of them having powerful cultivations, perhaps they would have already fallen down. Ning Cheng thought that the 2 of them would ridicule him, but what Ning Cheng did not expect was that the 2 of them did not speak any nonsense. Yin Kongchan still spoke up without any fear, I know that you have the twin wings of the heavenly clouds, that's why I escaped in your direction. You don't need to explain, it is not the first time that I was cheated by someone. Initially, I had saved dozens of disciples from various academies, but in the end, I ended up being chased around as a devil cultivator. I was already used to this kind of thing. You can just lead the way, after we finish our cooperation, you can go your way, I will go my way, we will have nothing to do with each other. Ning Cheng waved his hand, stopping Yin Kongchan's words. When Yin Kongchan and Su Yingde heard Ning Cheng's words, they immediately knew that Ning Cheng was not talking about the matter of the ancient immortal cave. Do you often save people? Yin Kongchan suddenly asked. Ning Cheng spoke in a flat voice, generally, when it is within my power, I will always lend a helping hand. Although there are many people who bite the hand that feeds them, they have also made a few good friends. Ning Cheng immediately thought of Liang Kursen, and then thought of Li Lingfan. Although he was not very familiar with Li Lingfan, but he believed that he was a friend worth making. There was also Tai Shu Shi, Yu Ying, Meng Jingxiu and the others, all of them were friends that he had made after arriving at the Yixing mainland. When Jiang Jun killed Tan Yushan, you did not make a move because you did not have the ability, is that right? If Jiang Jun had killed your Dao companion, would you have done something? Yin Kongchan's words had always been calm and steady, but these words were obviously filled with a hint of sarcasm. It seems that even if she had cultivated her mind to a certain degree, but when Ning Cheng casually threw her down a moment ago, it still made her feel a bit of injustice in her heart. Ning Cheng coldly looked at Yin Kongchan and spoke, I'm sorry, but I ended up hurting the weak heart of your lover. I really did see the process of that scum killing Tan Yushan, but it was too late for me to make a move. Even if I were to make a move, it would only make Jiang Jun kill one more person. You did not answer my second question. Yin Kongchan still calmly looked at Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng gave a disdainful smile and spoke, I do not need to answer you, you can lead the way. Yin Kongchan unexpectedly nodded, as she brought out a best quality shuttle-type spiritual artifact, and simultaneously spoke, I understand, get on my flight-type magical weapon, I'll take you there. Saying that she deliberately looked at Ning Cheng and spoke, you said something wrong a moment ago, Jiang Jun is not my lover. I just appreciate him, he has something that is worth appreciating. Ning Cheng's eyes instantly flashed with an unquestionable killing intent, allowing Yin Kongchan to understand the meaning behind Ning Cheng's words. If someone dared to kill his Dao companion in front of him, even if he was not an opponent for that person, he would not hesitate to go all out. The reason why Ning Cheng disdained to answer Yin Kongchan's question was because he felt that he and Yin Kongchan were not people from the same world. This world not only represented the environment that the two of them were born in, but it also represented that the two of them had completely different worldviews. Yin Kongchan was asking about his Dao companion, for Ning Cheng, not to mention his Dao companion, even if it was a friend of his replaced in Tan Yushan's position, he would not hesitate to rush out and kill her. This was the difference in their worldviews. Ning Cheng did not need to ask, he knew that Yin Kongchan was not someone who would do such a thing. Taking a step back, at that time, if Tan Yushan could hold on for a little longer, then Ning Cheng would have definitely helped her, because at that time, he really wanted to help her. After Ning Cheng and Su Yingde boarded the shuttle, Yin Kongchan brought the two of them to her room. Yin Kongchan's shuttle was very exquisite, with a pointed front and an oval back. There was only a single room inside the shuttle, even the control of the shuttle could be done from her room. From this, it could be seen that she had always been a loner. In other words, there were very few outsiders who could come up to her shuttle. Unlike Yin Kongchan's calm and tranquil appearance, her room was filled with a faint fragrance, moreover it was also decorated with incomparable elegance. Ning Cheng smelled his hand in doubt, he could not feel any obvious fragrance coming from Yin Kongchan's body. However, her room actually had this kind of fragrance, which made Ning Cheng somewhat vigilant. He was very wary of Yin Kongchan and Su Yingde. Jiang Jun was Yin Kongchan's friend, since Jiang Jun could poison Tan Yushan, then who knows if Yin Kongchan had the ability to do so. What if this fragrance was poison? Yin Kongchan spoke in a light voice, "Your left hand has the smell of Su Yingde, not mine. You grabbed me with your right hand, if you want to smell my body, then you should smell your right hand." Yin Kongchan being so meticulous, Ning Qing felt his old face turn red, it made him look like a rogue. He coughed, stood up and spoke, "I'm not used to staying in a woman's room, I'll go to the front of the shuttle and have a look." "Why does he want to smell your scent?" After Ning Qing walked out, Su Yingde suddenly looked at Yin Kongchan and asked a question. Yin Kongchan's face suddenly turned slightly red, "I don't know, I guess he should want to know more about me." Su Yingde thoughtfully looked at Yin Kongchan, and then looked at the room. Before she spoke, "Ning Qing is very careful, maybe he wants to know if the faint fragrance coming from your room is poisonous or not." Yin Kongchan's lies were exposed by Su Yingde, causing her slightly red face to revert back to normal. Ning Qing did not want to stay in the room and argue with these two women were very scheming, and now that they were together with him, each of them had their own ideas. Their scheming was as good as their appearance, they just wanted to get some benefits from him. The speed of the shuttle was very fast. Ning Qing was a Tier 6 array formation Grand Master, as such when he saw the array formation around the shuttle, he immediately knew that it was at least a Tier 6 defensive array formation. A disciple from a major academy was truly different. Ning Qing did not care about the shuttle, he took out the jade box that was given to him by the Rainbow Fall Sword Sect's headmaster Rui Baishan. Inside the jade box was an escape talisman, he intended to refine this talisman first. His cultivation was still low, if he wanted to quickly activate this high-level talisman, then he could only refine it first. But when Ning Qing refined the talisman, he was immediately dumbfounded. This was not an escape talisman, but just an ordinary message talisman. "Ning Qing, when you refined my talisman, it showed that you were at least safe for now. Leaving an escape talisman for you, is to let you leave earlier. You can understand what I mean, it is very good. An escape talisman can only protect you once, there will be countless dangers in the future, which you will need to face on your own. This is not something that an escape talisman can solve, so I did not give you an escape talisman." This old Roy really is a scammer. Fortunately he did not count on his escape talisman. If he had counted on his escape talisman, then it would have been very miserable for him. The things that you can obtain, is your own opportunity, make good use of it. I have also been on the run before, so what I can give you is not an escape talisman, but rather some experience. First, in times of need, you cannot fully trust the friends around you, they may be the next ones to attack you. Second, in times of need, you must trust the friends around you, they are the only ones who can help you. Ning Qing was stunned, where did he get this kind of deceptive advice and experience? In the end, should he believe it, or should he not believe it? Third, at any time, you must have a guarantee of survival, at least you will not starve to death. Well, my experience is only these. In any case, you are a disciple of the Rainbow Fall Sword Sect. If you really have no other place to go, then go to the Rainbow Fall Sword Sect. Rui Baishan. Ning Qing rubbed his head, what exactly was this old Rui talking about? These 3 points were simply nonsense. After he reached the essence building realm, he was already able to abstain from eating, not to mention now that he was about to reach the soul essence realm. Even if he did not eat for several years, his true essence would automatically circulate through the heavenly cycle. If he cultivated, then he would be able to absorb spiritual qi to circulate through the heavenly cycle. How could he starve to death? How could a profound core cultivator starve to death? This was simply the biggest joke in the world. As Ning Qing thought of this, he suddenly paused, as long as he could circulate through the heavenly cycle. If he could not circulate through the heavenly cycle, and could not cultivate, then what would he do? Ning Qing came from earth, he was very clear that cultivation was able to abstain from eating, because the true essence would automatically circulate through the heavenly cycle, which would replace the metabolism, and would also make the body even purer. Looking at the third point of the jade strip in his hands, Ning Qing suddenly felt that this point was not as unreasonable as it seemed. In case he could not cultivate, he would also have to eat, only then would he be able to save his life. Who knew if such a thing would happen? A few years ago when he was at the bottom of the Blood River, didn't he see a starving cultivator? At the bottom of the Blood River, at least he still had his true essence and spiritual consciousness, and in a few places, there was still a little bit of spiritual chi. In case these were all gone, then what should he do? Chapter 302. Ning Qing was a person with a strong sense of crisis. As such, he had always been very careful when he was in Jiangzhou. Now that he realized this, he immediately began to refine the fasting pill. He even took into account the strength of the pill. He only refined the lowest grade of fasting pill, which could last for 3 days. After refining 200 or 300 of them, Ning Qing thought that if he did not starve to death, then what would he do if he died of thirst? Then he began to refine the fresh water pill. A fresh water pill was the size of a longan, but it could gather a large bowl of water. Then what Mitsubishi thorn, when Ning Qing refined a toothbrush, he suddenly patted his head. What was going on? His sense of crisis was a little too much. This Lao Rui's experience was like a psychopath, and he made him look like a psychopath too. Although he was a cultivator with such great magical power, but because of Rui Baishan's words, he ended up doing boring things for half a day. Ning Qing shook his head, and did not continue to do this kind of boring thing. Even the package that he had refined was thrown into his storage ring. This sense of crisis came and went quickly. You also know alchemy? Su Yingdai's voice arrived. As Ning Qing saw Su Yingdai coming over, Yin Kongchan also came over. The two of them did not need Ning Qing to invite them, as they also sat down in front of him. Don't you need to look after your shuttle? Ning Qing looked at Yin Kongchan and asked. Yin Kongchan spoke up in a calm voice, I have a puppet that can help me look after the shuttle. Don't worry, I won't waste any time. I also want to ask Su Yingdai the question just now, are you also a pill master? I'm not an alchemist. The pills I concocted just now didn't even have a grade. The two of you must have seen it. I am studying alchemy diligently. Learning alchemy, do you understand? Ning Qing spoke with a smile. We're all working together for the same thing. I think we should discuss the reason honestly so that we can distribute the items better. Yin Kongchan did not entangle herself with Ning Qing's question. She could see that Ning Qing did not have much interest in chatting with her. Ning Qing did not care about it and spoke, sure, the two of you can speak first. Yin Kongchan also did not decline, I was born with an incomplete soul, so I need the geocentric 9 Yin essence. My grandmother's soul was injured and is unable to recover to this day. I am looking for her for my grandmother. Su Yingdai also spoke out calmly. Ning Qing looked at the emptiness outside the shuttle and spoke in a slow voice, I promised a senior with an incomplete spiritual soul that I would help him find the geocentric 9 Yin essence, and then he would do me a favor. That senior has the highest cultivation, so I also need the most geocentric 9 Yin essence. If it's 100%, I'll need 60%, and you two can split the remaining 40. If Su Yingdai and Yin Kongchan did not agree to it, then he would slowly discuss it with the two of them, but he would need at least 50%. Contrary to Ning Qing's expectations, as soon as Ning Qing stated his request, Yin Kongchan immediately spoke up, I agree, I originally wanted very little. Su Yingdai also gave a faint smile, I also agree. Since the two of them were so easy to talk to, it made Ning Qing feel slightly better in his heart. Seemingly feeling that Ning Qing's mood had improved a bit, Su Yingdai suddenly asked, Senior Apprentice Brother Ning, can you talk about what kind of help did you ask that senior with such a high cultivation? Perhaps after my grandmother's body recovers, she would be able to help you. Ning Qing glanced at the sincere Su Yingdai, and spoke out in a very blunt manner, even if your grandmother's cultivation is restored, even if it was doubled, I'm afraid that there would still be no way for her to help me. Yin Kongchan looked at Ning Cheng with some doubts, and added a sentence from the side, if I have not guessed wrong, then Su Yingdai's grandmother's cultivation is far higher than the Heavenly Tao Academy's Tao Master Xiao Bisheng. Even if her cultivation was doubled, there would still be no way for her to help you. What exactly do you want to do? Ning Cheng did not want to talk to these two women, but thinking about going home, his heart unexpectedly felt a little fiery, as he spoke with a slightly excited tone, I want to go home to have a look, other than that senior, no one else can help me. Seeing Ning Cheng's hopeful tone and resolute expression, Su Yingdai opened her mouth, but did not continue to speak. She actually wanted to say that if her grandmother could not help Ning Cheng, then no one else would be able to help him. That senior who asked Ning Cheng for the geocentric 9 Yin essence, might just be a liar. However, thinking that Ning Cheng was definitely not that easy to deceive, she swallowed back the words she wanted to say. Yin Kongchan and Su Yingdai could not find a topic to talk about, while Ning Cheng was looking forward to finding the geocentric 9 Yin essence, and then finding the heavenly cusp flower, perhaps he would be able to go back and have a look. Su Yingdai once again broke the long silence, Senior Apprentice Brother Ning, you will soon be able to condense your soul essence. I have a jade strip with me for condensing your soul essence, you can take it and have a look. You have already offended too many people, I suggest that when you condense your soul essence, you should change your appearance a little, it would save you a lot of trouble. Condensing my soul essence can change my appearance? Ning Cheng took the jade strip and asked in amazement. Yin Kongchan spoke from the side, of course, but the changes are very subtle, moreover you also need to have a specific cultivation method and mantra. I have it here. Seemingly not wanting to fall behind Su Yingdai, Yin Kongchan also took out a jade strip and handed it to Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng did not reject it, and after putting away the two jade strips, he asked, according to what you said, wouldn't there be no ugly people? No wonder the two of you look so beautiful, it seems that both of you have undergone surgery. Su Yingdai shook her head and spoke, my appearance is something that I was born with, and I have never thought of changing it. I also do not, I have this jade strip, but it does not mean that I want to do it. Yin Kongchan explained without hesitation. Su Yingdai simply ignored Yin Kongchan and spoke, in fact, the appearance-changing jade strip is not something that is easy to obtain, moreover one's appearance is born from one's heart, that is to say, your appearance is fixed, even if you forcibly change it, after cultivating for a long time, it would slowly change back, but the process of change would be very subtle. Condensing your soul essence, there is a process where one's heart gives birth to their appearance. At this time, it is the easiest time to change one's appearance, so I suggest that when you condense your soul essence, you should slightly change your appearance. Ning Cheng was amazed in his heart, no wonder after all these years of cultivation, his appearance had changed slightly, and was getting closer and closer to his original appearance. It seems that Su Yingdai was not speaking nonsense when she said that one's appearance was born from one's heart. In the future when he condensed his soul essence, if he could change his appearance once again, then when he went back in the future, it would not be too abrupt. Many thanks, these two jade strips are very useful to me. After Ning Cheng put away the jade strip, he thanked the two people for the first time. Ning Cheng was not willing to talk to the two of them, but the two of them were trying to please him, causing them to appear somewhat well-behaved. Su Yingdai's purpose was very clear to Ning Cheng, she wanted to fall in love with him, but she could not even dream about it. As for Yin Kongchan, it was also the same, which made Ning Cheng somewhat puzzled. Regardless of whether he understood the meaning of the two people, Ning Cheng put aside the purpose of the two people, and began to boast about everything under the heavens. Su Yingdai and Yin Kongchan were not people who were good at talking. If Ning Cheng did not want to talk, then the conversation between the three of them would simply not start. Now that Ning Cheng was speaking with confidence and composure, coupled with the two of them occasionally asking a question, the atmosphere was unexpectedly a bit warm. Although the earth could not be used for cultivation, but one could still obtain information from all over the heavens. Even if a small matter happened in the North Pole, in just a minute, perhaps this matter could be spread to the South Pole. In the Tian continent, although there were sound jade tablets, there were also sound transmitting array formations and array formation screens, but compared to the era of electronic information explosion, it was still far from it. Yin Kongchan and Su Yingde originally wanted to gain a favorable impression from Ning Cheng, as such they deliberately came to talk to Ning Cheng, but when Ning Cheng really brought it up, the two of them were stunned. They had always been cultivating, how could they have ever heard of these kinds of strange things? The flight-type magical weapon that you spoke of, does it really not require any spiritual power? Su Yingde asked in amazement. What I find strange is why a bikini can only be worn at the seaside, why can't I wear it at other places? Yin Kongchan was obviously more concerned about the bikini that Ning Cheng described. Ning Cheng looked at Yin Kongchan for a moment, before he suddenly nodded and spoke, with your figure, you can wear it at other places, when I have the time, I will help you refine a set. Later when you wear a bikini on the street, do not forget that it was me who helped you refine it. Many thanks. Yin Kongchan showed a faint smile for the first time. Even if she did not smile, she was already a peerless beauty under the heavens. But now that she smiled, it made Ning Cheng think of a line from a poem, looking back with a smile that could charm 100 people. He had not even looked back, but it was already so eye-catching. Ning Cheng shook his head, and suddenly did not want to continue speaking. Why did you shake your head? Yin Kongchan saw Ning Cheng looking at her, and then shaking his head, unexpectedly opened her mouth to ask. Ning Cheng showed a faint smile and spoke, I remembered 8 words. Yin Kongchan's smile had already converged, as she spoke with a light tone, I am a female cultivator, those 8 words of yours do not have any effect on me. Su Yingde suddenly spoke up, I don't think senior apprentice brother Ning was talking about those 8 words. Ning Cheng did not continue to explain, he really was not thinking about the 8 words that were spoken on the battle ring, but rather the words you are a beauty, why do you have to be a thief? Do not look at Yin Kongchan's mouth, Ning Cheng had always felt that she was coveting his twin wings of the heavenly clouds. If he said those words, then it would not have any meaning, at least they were still cooperating. The 3 people turned silent, and for half an incense stick worth of time, no one spoke. But at this time, the shuttle had already passed through a dark fog, and even one spiritual consciousness could not be released very far. Ning Cheng suddenly stood up and spoke, what's going on? Do not worry, this is the Hidden Mist Cemetery, after passing through the Hidden Mist Cemetery we will reach the place where the geocentric 9 Yin essence appears. Or rather, the geocentric 9 Yin essence is inside the Hidden Mist Cemetery. Yin Kongchan spoke in a light voice. Su Yingde also stood up, as she stared at Yin Kongchan, the Hidden Mist Cemetery is one of the most vicious forbidden areas, yet you unexpectedly did not say anything in advance before coming in. Yin Kongchan was still as calm as before, leading the way is my job, as for how to search for the geocentric 9 Yin essence, as well as how to obtain the geocentric 9 Yin essence after finding it, those are the matters of the 2 of you, I will not ask about it. Chapter 303. Su Yingde, tell me about the Hidden Mist Cemetery. Ning Cheng became even more vigilant towards Yin Kongchan. Su Yingde also moved away from Yin Kongchan, and moved closer to Ning Cheng. Before she spoke, the Hidden Mist Cemetery is one of the most vicious forbidden areas in the Tian continent, because very few of the cultivators who come in here are able to come out. Once you enter here, your spiritual consciousness will be compressed to the point that it is almost non-existent. Not only that, but the fog here also contains a kind of corpse poison, after being poisoned, your whole body would fester and you would die. Thinking of the terrible appearance after being poisoned, Su Yingde suddenly shuddered, this thing was terrifying to the extreme, not to mention experiencing it. This is just one of the things, the more important thing is that the Hidden Mist Cemetery is a gathering place for ghost cultivators. The spiritual consciousness of ghost cultivators are not affected in here, once you are targeted by a high-leveled ghost cultivator, the only thing that awaits you is death. Su Yingde's words were interrupted by Yin Kongchan, you should say that the most terrible thing here is not the ghost cultivators. The ghost cultivators have spiritual wisdom, and would not randomly attack people. The most terrible thing is the Een spirits, although the level of the Een spirits here is very low, but they do not have any spiritual wisdom, and would attack people at any time and anywhere. Because of this, after entering the hidden mist cemetery, very few people can come out alive. Een Kongchan's words had just finished, when Ning Cheng and Su Yingde felt the shuttle tremble. The next moment it was suspended in the air, no longer moving forward. I forgot, in the hidden mist cemetery, one cannot use a flight-type magical weapon to fly continuously. Su Yingde's tone seemed to have returned to normal. Ning Cheng stood up, stared at Een Kongchan and spoke, "Give me a reason why you did not let us know, and brought us here. If you cannot satisfy me, then even if I do not want the geocentric 9 Een essence, I will still give you an unforgettable memory." The reason why Ning Cheng dared to come here with Een Kongchan and Su Yingde to search for the geocentric 9 Een essence was that he did not fear the two of them. Een Kongchan did not speak, but took out a jade strip and threw it to Ning Cheng and spoke, "When you went to the Heavenly Stars auction, you must have seen this jade strip." What Su Yingde said is right, although flight-type magical weapons cannot fly here, but it does not affect your twin wings of the heavenly clouds. Ning Cheng took the jade strip and realized that this jade strip was the same jade strip that he had seen at the Heavenly Stars auction house. Although the restrictions on the jade strip had already been broken, but with Ning Cheng's understanding of restrictions, he was able to identify this restriction with just a glance. It was the same restriction that he had obtained from the geocentric 9 Een essence jade strip. What was written on the jade strip was very simple. The geocentric 9 Een essence was in the hidden mist cemetery, the vicious forbidden area, and it was definitely not false. It was just that the exact location was not very clear. At the same time, one must also have the twin wings of the heavenly clouds, or a similar flight-type magical weapon in order to obtain it. No wonder when Su Yingde said that she wanted to join this treasure-seeking group, Een Kongchan immediately agreed when she knew that Su Yingde had a seeking spiritual fox. It turned out that she did not know the exact location either. Ning Cheng handed the jade strip to Su Yingde, as he looked at Een Kongchan and spoke, "The jade strip is indeed correct, but before we enter the forbidden area, you should at least inform us about it. If I'm not wrong, since there's no direction here and there's no way out, it's impossible for us to get out now, right?" Een Kongchan shook her head and spoke, "No, I still have 3 transfer talismans with me. When I obtained the jade strip, I had already started preparing for it, so after we get the thing, we can immediately crush the transfer talisman and leave this place." After Su Yingde finished reading the jade strip, she did not return the jade strip to Een Kongchan, but rather gave the jade strip to Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng stared at Een Kongchan while holding the jade strip and spoke, "What you mean is that we should just stand here, and wait for the geocentric 9 Een essence to automatically come to us? In any case, I will not let Little Sun search for the geocentric 9 Een essence in this place." Su Yingde spoke with certainty. Een Kongchan calmly spoke, "Of course we will not stay here, nor will we let the seeking spiritual fox search for it. I have 40 barrier-dispelling pills here, each of them can last for a day, we will each take 10 of them. Your seeking spiritual beast also has 10 of them. I believe that we should be able to find the geocentric 9 Een essence within 10 days. What about the Een spirits that sneak attack us? How do we defend against them?" Ning Cheng did not hesitate to take the 10 barrier-dispelling pills and asked. Een Kongchan took out an barrier-dispelling pill and swallowed it. Before she spoke in a calm and unhurried manner, "Everyone will have to rely on their own luck and ability. If our luck is really bad, and we end up being sneak attacked by the Een spirits, then we can only say that we are unlucky. Now let's all swallow a pill, and then go down. I will have to put away my shuttle." Ning Cheng also swallowed an barrier-dispelling pill, before he gave a sneer and spoke, "I'm afraid that if I die in front of you, then wouldn't you want to take away my twin wings of the heavenly clouds? If you are not careful and end up dying, then even if the twin wings of the heavenly clouds ended up in this place, it would still be a waste. It would be better for me to continue to use it. I will not turn my back on you." Yin Kongchan spoke as if it was a matter of course. Ning Cheng gave a snort, and did not continue to speak any nonsense, as he immediately jumped off the shuttle. Not knowing whether it was intentional or not, Ning Cheng did not ask Yin Kongchan for the transfer talisman. He also did not return the jade strip to Yin Kongchan. The jade strip containing the records of the geocentric 9 Yin essence ended up in Ning Cheng's hands. Although he did not return it to Yin Kongchan, but he also did not put the jade strip into his ring in front of the other party. However, when Ning Cheng had just stood in the hidden mist cemetery, his spiritual consciousness had caught a glimpse of a faint aura from the jade strip that was transmitted out. Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness was both powerful and incomparably meticulous. Moreover, his spiritual consciousness was tempered in the chaotic star space. As such, when it came to the toughness and penetration of his spiritual consciousness, even Yin Kongchan and Su Yingde were far inferior to him. After he felt the strangeness of this jade strip, he even forgot about the strange aura surrounding him in the cemetery. As such, he placed the jade strip in the palm of his hand and carefully observed it. "Senior apprentice brother Ning, what's the matter?" Su Yingde also came out of the shuttle together with Yin Kongchan while holding the spiritual fox. Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness carefully searched through the jade strip for a long time, before he suddenly stared at Yin Kongchan and asked, "Did you do anything to this jade strip?" "I just sent out a message a moment ago." Yin Kongchan's calm face slightly changed, even her tone was not as calm as it was a moment ago. "No, I am sure that I did not do anything to this jade strip. Moreover, I have repeatedly checked this jade strip, and even asked my floating snow palace's 7th palace master to check it, but I absolutely did not find anything strange about it. If not for a message being transmitted out a moment ago, I would not have been able to detect it. Although I am still not aware of the strangeness of this jade strip, but I am sure that this jade strip has been marked by someone, but the grade of this mark is beyond my ability." Ning Cheng firmly spoke. The three of them looked at each other in dismay, and only after a good while did Su Yingde speak up. "I'm afraid that the three of us would end up as a wedding dress for someone else. This person took out this jade strip for auction. I'm afraid that he is waiting for someone to help him find the geocentric 9 Yin essence." "I understand." Yin Kongchan suddenly spoke up. Seeing Ning Cheng and Su Yingde looking at her, Yin Kongchan slowed down her tone and spoke. "When I obtained the geocentric 9 Yin essence jade strip, the 7th palace master told me that many years ago, there was also an auction for the whereabouts of the geocentric 9 Yin essence. At that time, I did not care about it, but it seems that it was done by the same person, in order for us to come here and help us find the geocentric 9 Yin essence." Su Yingde might have spoken the truth, that the geocentric 9 Yin essence that we find would end up as a wedding dress for someone else. If we had not discovered this, then we would have ended up as a wedding dress for someone else. Now that we have discovered it, then it would not be a wedding dress for someone else. Ning Cheng shook the jade strip in his hand, as he spoke with a smile. Saying that, Ning Cheng raised his hand and threw the jade strip in his hand away, not knowing where he had thrown it. Ning Cheng threw away the jade strip, and the three of them immediately focused their attention on the hidden mist cemetery, as they immediately felt the strange situation here. The three of them were surrounded by a strange aura, while faint bursts of cries could be heard coming from a distance. If one paid attention to it, they would even be able to hear a sudden sound coming from not far in front of them. However, when they looked at it with their eyes, they would not be able to see anything. "My spiritual consciousness can only extend to a distance of less than 10 meters. Su Yingde's face turned slightly pale, although she had cultivated her mind to the point of being calm, but when her strength was not enough to deal with the situation in front of her, she could not help but feel afraid. "My spiritual consciousness can only extend to a distance of about 10 meters. Yin Kongchan's tone was a bit better than Su Yingde's, but it was not as calm as before. Ning Cheng saw the two of them looking at him, and calmly spoke up, "My cultivation is a level lower than yours, and 10 small levels lower." After saying this sentence, Ning Cheng did not explain anything. But in his heart, he was secretly shocked at the strength of the spiritual consciousness tempered in the chaotic star space. His spiritual consciousness was definitely not much stronger than Yin Kongchan or Su Yingde, but because his spiritual consciousness was tempered in the chaotic star space, his spiritual consciousness was able to extend to a distance of 100 meters in this place. Although it was compressed to the extreme, but compared to Yin Kongchan and Su Yingde, his spiritual consciousness could reach the furthest in this place. Put down your spiritual seeking fox, our time is limited, we need to find the geocentric 9 Yin essence in the shortest possible time. After Yin Kongchan heard Ning Cheng's words, she gave out a sigh and spoke to Su Yingde. Su Yingde shook her head and spoke, "No, I don't feel at ease putting down Little Sun in this place. Little Sun is in my hands, and can also tell me the location. But now Little Sun has not told me any useful location, which means that it has not found it yet, we can only look for it ourselves." Su Yingde finished speaking and took the lead. Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness had already caught sight of a faintly discernible shadow rushing towards Su Yingde, who was walking at the forefront. That shadow was extremely fast, and in just a few breaths of time, it had already rushed to within 10 meters of Su Yingde. Ning Cheng did not make his move, he wanted to see if Su Yingde could discover it. Sure enough, when that shadow reached within 10 meters of Su Yingde's complexion slightly changed, as she raised her hand and shot out a sword light. Wu! A mournful cry spread out, from the range of Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness, the shadow had already disappeared without a trace, it should have been destroyed by Su Yingde's sword qi. This kind of mournful cry was particularly clear in this cemetery, and even formed a terrifying sound field around the several people. The 3 people were shocked by this mournful cry, and stopped for a while. Chapter 304. Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness was much more powerful compared to Yin Kongchan and Su Yingde, as such he was able to see even more Yin spirits quickly rushing towards them because of the shrill cries. "Don't be in a daze, just follow behind me, I'll lead the way." Once the spiritual fox discovers the geocentric 9 netherworld essence, then Su Yingde will lead the way. Ning Cheng finished speaking and immediately rushed towards a direction with fewer Yin spirits, as he quickly rushed towards it. Su Yingde and Yin Kongchan, on seeing this, quickly followed behind Ning Cheng, and soon disappeared from this place. An hour later, Ning Cheng found a piece of experience. That is, as long as they kept walking, even if they were discovered by some Yin spirits, those Yin spirits would only chase after them for a short distance before they would return. Once they stopped, the Yin spirits would immediately come forward. In case they ended up entangled by the Yin spirits, when killing the Yin spirits, they would have to use a true essence wall to block the sound of the Yin spirits, otherwise it would attract even more Yin spirits. Ning Cheng walked with the 2 people for half a day, but did not encounter any major problems. Yin Kongchan and Su Yingde were clear in their hearts, even if Ning Cheng did not take the initiative to say it, Ning Cheng definitely had a way. "You seem to be able to discover Yin spirits in advance." After the 3 people searched for more than an hour, Yin Kongchan finally could not help but speak up. Ning Cheng did not answer her question and spoke, "I have been walking for more than half a day, although I found that this place is somewhat strange, but it is only because of the powerful poison barrier, it is not to the point of not being able to get out right. That is because we have only been here for the first day, and have not yet encountered the Yin Spirit Groove or the Corpse Barrier Valley. Having said that, even if you did not encounter these 2 places, once we ran out of barrier-dispelling pills, it would still be a dead end for us." Yin Kongchan casually replied, as if she had really forgotten the question she had asked Ning Cheng a moment ago. Yin Kongchan had just finished speaking, when the space around the 3 people suddenly turned cold. A whimpering sound mixed with numerous muffled explosions resounded around the 3 people. "Not good, we have reached a Yin Spirit Groove, quickly escape." Yin Kongchan's words had not even finished, when Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness had already detected countless Yin spirits appearing. What shocked Ning Cheng was that even though his spiritual consciousness had been paying attention to the surroundings, he did not find that there were so many Yin spirits in this place. Some of the Yin spirits here were even more powerful than Yin Kongchan and Su Yingde. At this time, Yin Kongchan and Su Yingde also saw so many Yin spirits swarming towards them, causing the faces of the two of them to suddenly turn pale. They also knew that these Yin spirits were not something that they could deal with. Yin Kongchan brought out a round shield while simultaneously throwing out two talismans towards Su Yingde and Ning Cheng and spoke, "Let's first crush the talismans to get out, and then prepare to re-enter this place." At the same time she threw out the small teleportation talisman. She had already crushed the talisman in her hand. But in the next moment, she was dumbfounded. After she crushed the talisman, she still didn't move. In other words, her talisman was useless. Yin Kongchan threw out the talisman, and crushed the talisman in just a moment. At this moment Su Yingde also crushed her talisman. When she saw that Yin Kongchan had not been teleported away, she immediately knew that there was a problem with this minor teleportation talisman. At least there was a problem here. Ning Cheng simply put away the talisman, and immediately brought out the cosmic true devil axe. Su Yingde and Yin Kongchan quickly reacted, and also brought out their own magical weapons, as they began to attack the swarming Yin spirits. The bodies of these Yin spirits were almost impossible to detect without using one's spiritual consciousness, but the two of them were afraid of being caught by these Yin spirits. As such they crazily stimulated the magical weapons in their hands. Soon the three of them formed a magical weapon true essence wall around them, killing countless Yin spirits, causing all kinds of sharp screams to spread out. Because of these mournful screams, more and more Yin spirits started to gather in this place. Some of the more powerful Yin spirits could not only send out Yin claws, but could even send out Yin blades. There were also some Yin spirits that unexpectedly used sound domain attacks. Ning Cheng possessed the cosmic true devil axe, as well as the axe intent that could kill a group. As such he blasted out with his axe line, causing those Yin spirits to die as soon as they bumped into them. Moreover, he also had the twin wings of the heavenly clouds. As such he was not afraid of being trapped. It was just that there were too many Yin spirits around, and they were too dense. As such Ning Cheng did not dare to escape with Su Yingde and Yin Kongchan. Once he could not rush out with the two of them, then Su Yingde and Yin Kongchan's deaths would be a trivial matter, but he himself would also end up trapped. To waste thousands of talismans, just to blow up these Yin spirits, he was somewhat reluctant. In this place, talismans were obviously very important. Moreover, if a large number of talismans were to be blasted out together, then it would definitely be a very powerful method. If he had known that he would come to this place, then he would not have wasted so many talismans on the battle ring. If Ning Cheng had the means to attack in a large area, then it would have been much better. However, Yin Kongchan and Su Yingde were a lot more miserable, as their cultivation was far stronger than Ning Cheng's. However, their spiritual consciousness could not break through the 100 meters of the fog like Ning Cheng could. As such, the two of them, in order to avoid being attacked by the Yin spirits, had to spend more than 10 times the amount of effort compared to Ning Cheng. Yin Kongchan was surrounded by a round shield, with white gloves, and a jade ruler as her magical weapon. Su Yingde also had a defensive bell on top of her head, while her offensive magical weapon was a cyan-colored sword. Because the two of them did not know which Yin spirit would attack them next, as such they did not have to defend with all their strength. Coupled with the fact that the two of them had group attack methods that Ning Cheng had comprehended from the Angry Axe Valley's axe line killing move, as a result, their consumption was much higher than Ning Cheng's, causing their situation to be worse than Ning Cheng's. At this time, the two of them already had disheveled hair, and even looked battered and exhausted. These Yin spirits seemed to know that Ning Cheng was much more difficult to deal with compared to Yin Kongchan and Su Yingde. As such they bullied the weak and feared the strong, which made things even easier for Ning Cheng. Su Yingde and Yin Kongchan were fully focused on resisting the attacks of the high-level Yin spirits, and were not in the mood to care about Ning Cheng's situation. Ning Cheng originally wanted to use his axe line and the three of them to join forces to repel these Yin spirits. But now he saw that along with the shrill screams, more and more Yin spirits were gathering. If he did not take the risk to escape, then when even more high-level Yin spirits arrived, then even if he took the risk it would be too late. Thinking until here, Ning Qing directly took out thousands of talismans and threw them out. When these talismans were all thrown out, countless terrifying explosions instantly swept through the surrounding area. For a time, the flames were monstrous, accompanied by the sounds of thunder and lightning. With so many exploding talismans, some of the low-leveled Yin spirits in the surroundings were directly incinerated by Ning Cheng's talismans. Some of the high-level Yin spirits also retreated in fear. Ning Cheng took advantage of this gap to grab Yin Kongchan and Su Yingde, and directly used the twin wings of the heavenly clouds to teleport away. This time Ning Cheng did not casually throw Yin Kongchan and Su Yingde down, but rather placed the two of them on the ground, and then asked, "What is this Yin spirit groove?" Yin Kongchan casually tidied up her clothes and hair, before she spoke with a sigh, "Thank you for saving me once again." Yin spirit grooves are places where Yin Qi gathers. It is somewhat similar to the spiritual veins in the eyes of us cultivators. Yin spirit grooves are also places where many Yin spirits are lurking. These kinds of hidden Yin spirits, even if you use your spiritual consciousness, it would be very difficult to find them. But once these lurking Yin spirits are alarmed, then they would swarm out in the shortest possible time. Su Yingde did not speak, but just silently tidied up her clothes, and then put away the long sword that she had been carrying on her back into her ring, and once again held the spiritual seeking fox in her hands. It was probably because she found that among the three of them, her role was the least. Little Sun found something. Su Yingde suddenly spoke out in a pleasantly surprised voice. Saying that, she once again turned her gaze to Ning Cheng and spoke, "Let's go from here." It seems that she understood that she was not as good as Ning Cheng leading the way, as such she simply told Ning Cheng the way. Ning Cheng, under the guidance of Su Yingde, along with the Yin Kongchan duo, in just the time it took for an incense stick to burn, they arrived at the periphery of an incomparably dark black lake. Rather than saying that it was a black lake, it would be better to say that it was an underground ditch. The water in this lake was pitch black, and there were some bones floating on the surface of the black water, which would make people feel uncomfortable in their hearts. Around this black lake, there were also some bones, but these bones quickly turned into flying ash under the feet of the three people. In the middle of this black lake, there was a raised hill, and at the top of the hill was a flower as white as snow. In the middle of this black lake, there was a flower as white as snow, which was simply too strange. This is the underworld soul flower. Yin Kongchan and Su Yingde were both knowledgeable people. Seeing this flower, they could not help but exclaim out in surprise. The value of this flower was definitely not below the geocentric 9 Yin essence, it could even be above the geocentric 9 Yin essence. Ning Cheng certainly knew about the underworld soul flower. He had seen the introduction of the underworld soul flower, and had always thought that the conditions for the growth of this flower were simply too harsh. But he had never thought that he would actually see an underworld soul flower today. According to the legends, the purest thing in the world was the soul, while the dirtiest thing in the world was also the soul. The underworld soul flower needed the purest spiritual aura to be watered, and to obtain the purest spiritual aura, one would need to wash away the filth in the spiritual aura. The reason why the water of this black lake was so dark, it should be because of the long-term washing of the dirty spiritual aura. The underworld soul flower was a top-quality spiritual grass. It was watered by the spiritual qi of the human world and the pure netherworld soul qi. After a cultivator died, as long as there was a trace of their soul essence, they could use the underworld soul flower to protect it. It could even nourish and strengthen their soul essence. Compared to the soul-nourishing wood, the grade of the underworld soul flower was many times higher. The two of you step back. Ning Cheng saw the underworld soul flower for the first time, and immediately decided to take this flower away. You want to collect the underworld soul flower? Su Yingde and Yin Kongchan both looked at Ning Cheng in surprise, although they were not qualified to collect the underworld soul flower, but they knew that if the underworld soul flower was so easy to collect, then there would not be so many bones in this black lake. Ning Cheng, this is the hidden mist cemetery's soul abyss black lake, there are countless Yin spirits in it. Once you cross this black lake, you will be able to collect the underworld soul flower. Once you cross this black lake, these Yin spirits will immediately wake up, and even rush towards you. Compared to the Yin spirit groove, it is several times more terrifying. The hidden mist cemetery has ghost cultivators, you can see that this flower is still here today, it is enough to show how terrifying it is. Yin Kongchan was afraid that Ning Cheng was not clear about it, and once again explained it to him. Chapter 305. Ning Cheng just had to look at the countless bones in the Black Lake, to realize how difficult it was to collect the underworld soul flower. However, no matter how difficult it was, he had to get his hands on such a good thing. If he did not have the twin wings of the heavenly clouds, then it would have been fine, but now that he had the twin wings of the heavenly clouds, if he did not try it out, then who knows if he would regret it in the future. Thinking of this, Ning Cheng did not explain anything to Yin Kongchan, as he stood around the soul abyss Black Lake to observe the terrain. Yin Kongchan and Su Yingde had been together with Ning Cheng for some time now, as such they also had some understanding of Ning Cheng's disposition. Once Ning Cheng decided on something, with their relationship with Ning Cheng, they would not be able to persuade him at all. Besides, Ning Cheng also had the twin wings of the heavenly clouds, as such he had the qualifications to collect the underworld soul flower. If he did not give it a try, then he would not give up. Sure enough, Ning Cheng only observed for a few breaths of time before he soared up and directly rushed towards the center of the Black Lake. Yin Kongchan and Su Yingde, who were watching from the lakeside, nervously stared at Ning Cheng. Once Ning Cheng fell into the abyssal soul lake, then even if they managed to find the geocentric 9 netherworld essence, they would not be able to obtain it. Ning Cheng had just rushed to the top of the Black Lake, when he immediately felt an extremely terrifying suction force. This suction force was not even half a point worse than the one he had felt in the Blood River Mountains. At that time, he had not been able to resist the suction force of the whirlpool above the Blood River Mountain, and had been sucked into the bottom of the Blood River. Although his cultivation had improved a lot, but in just a short period of time, Ning Cheng still fell to a distance of less than half a foot away from the dark lake. Although he did not know much about this Black Lake, but Ning Cheng knew that once he fell into the Black Lake, then he would only be courting death. At this moment, Ning Cheng was greatly shocked in his heart, while at the same time, he also tried his best to activate the twin wings of the heavenly clouds. Using the twin wings of the heavenly clouds at a frequency that was several times faster than usual, Ning Cheng was finally able to break away from the surface of the lake. Yin Kongchan and Su Yingde, who were watching from a distance, gave out a slight sigh of relief. Just a moment ago, Ning Cheng had almost fallen into the Black Lake. Boom, boom, boom. Ning Cheng had not rushed out far when bursts of roaring sounds erupted from the Black Lake. Countless drops of black water suddenly burst apart and rushed towards Ning Cheng. At this time, Ning Cheng was still tens of feet away from the small island in the middle of the lake. In the boundless Black Lake water, countless Yin spirits swarmed up. It was even more densely packed than the Yin spirits in the Yin spirit trough that the three of them had encountered not long ago. Ning Cheng once again grabbed a handful of talismans and scattered them out. If it was on flat ground, then facing so many Yin spirits, he would have several ways to deal with them. But in this place, he did not even dare to bring out the cosmic true devil axe. The suction force of this Black Lake was simply too terrifying. Once he brought out his absolute beginning true devil axe, then perhaps the next moment he would have already fallen into the Black Lake. Although his true essence and spiritual consciousness were powerful, they were still not enough in this place. The sound of the talismans exploding filled the entire surface of the Black Lake in an instant. Countless ghosts were blown into nothingness by the talismans, but even more ghosts rushed up from the Black Lake. These Yin spirits even formed a black mist, which gradually wrapped around Ning Cheng from all directions. Not to mention that Ning Cheng was about to be dragged into the Black Lake once again. Even if Ning Cheng did not end up being dragged into the Black Lake, once he got caught in the Black Soul Mist, he would only end up in a situation where he would die. Ning Cheng sighed, as he crazily stimulated the twin wings of the heavenly clouds, while at the same time constantly sprinkling out talismans, while simultaneously taking out the talismans given to him by the skeleton at the bottom of the blood river from his ring. He knew that he had made a mistake, that is, he should not have waited for the Yin spirits to appear before throwing out the talismans. He should have continuously sprinkled out the talismans before the Yin spirits came out, so that when the Yin spirits came out, the talismans would be able to block the Yin spirits, while he would be able to move forward without any hindrance. Su Yingde, who had been staring at Ning Cheng, suddenly took out a pill and swallowed it down. Before Yin Kongchan could even react, she had already rushed to the edge of the Black Lake, as a white ribbon shot out from her hands like a white ribbon. This white ribbon, in just a twinkling of an eye, transformed into a long white ribbon bridge. This white ribbon bridge appeared out of thin air above the Black Lake, and in just a breath, it had already extended to Ning Cheng's feet. Although the Black Lake had such a powerful suction force, this white ribbon bridge unexpectedly did not show even half a sign of falling. At this critical moment, Ning Cheng's feet touched the ground, as he immediately saw the white ribbon beneath his feet. Ning Cheng did not even have the time to be shocked by Su Yingde's powerful true essence and spiritual consciousness. With the help of this force, he completely swept out with his true devil axe. An axe line and an axe-killing whirlpool spread out around him, causing the slowly gathering Yin spirit black fog to instantly explode. The next moment Ning Cheng appeared on the island in the middle of the lake. The underworld soul flower gave off a refreshing fragrance. Ning Cheng had just smelled it, and immediately felt relaxed and happy. Ning Cheng knew that at this time the Yin spirits were in chaos, as such he had to hurry up. He did not continue to observe, as he directly dug up the underworld soul flower on the island and put it into his ring, as he once again stimulated the twin heavenly cloud wings to rush towards the shore. At this time, Su Yingde's white ribbon had already disappeared, but Ning Cheng had already experienced it before. As such he did not wait for the Yin spirits to come up, as he threw out the talismans one after another. Once he was surrounded by these Yin spirits, coupled with the suction force of the Black Lake, even if he used the talismans, it would be very difficult for him to break through. Just a moment ago, if not for Su Yingde's white ribbon, he would have already crushed the talismans and escaped. This time Ning Cheng threw out the talismans in advance. As such those Yin spirits did not even have the time to entangle Ning Cheng, as Ning Cheng had already landed on the shore with the explosion of the talismans. Su Yingde, this time many thanks to you. Ning Cheng had just landed, and was about to thank Su Yingde, but his words were suddenly stuck in his throat. He saw that Su Yingde, who not long ago still had a head full of black hair, at this time her long hair had already turned snow white, although her beautiful appearance had not changed, but the vitality had fallen to the lowest point, and did not have that kind of rosy and lustrous luster from before. Even her originally clear water-like eyes now had a trace of a gloomy and lifeless aura. What's going on? Ning Cheng asked in shock. Yin Kongchan also came up, as she looked at Su Yingde, and only spoke to Ning Cheng after a good while. In order to stimulate the white ribbon, she swallowed the burning life pill. Originally swallowing the burning life pill would stimulate the potential of the entire body, causing one's strength to soar in a very short period of time, but at the same time one would only be left with 10 years of lifespan. But Su Yingde, in order to preserve her appearance, swallowed the burning life pill to burn her lifespan, causing her to only have 3 years of lifespan left. When Ning Cheng heard Yin Kongchan's words, a deep gratitude towards Su Yingde welled up in his heart, but in this gratitude, there was also a kind of chill that came from the bottom of his heart. He and Su Yingde simply did not have any feelings for each other, not even friendship. For Su Yingde to do such a thing, it meant that she was determined to fall in love with him. If Ning Cheng was a bit more ruthless, then he could completely ignore all of this, but Ning Cheng could not do such a thing. He knew that Su Yingde had used the burning life pill to save him, in order to carve a mark in his heart, but he just could not erase this mark. Why? Ning Qing felt for the first time that he could not understand why the other party wanted to do such a thing. This idea was simply too crazy. Su Yingde showed a slight smile. Her smile was just like a pear blossom swaying in the cold wind. It was so beautiful that Ning Qing could not shift his gaze away. You saved me once, so I will also save you once. Don't think too much about it. This has nothing to do with love. Even if I cannot advance to the soul sculpting realm after 3 years, and even fall here, I will not regret it. Su Yingde spoke in a gentle tone, as if she was speaking about a very ordinary matter. However, Su Yingde's eyes were not filled with the emotion of saving her once and repaying her once. Ning Qing could not see it, but Yin Kongchan could. Her heart trembled. She knew that Su Yingde had already taken the first step in falling in love. She and Ning Qing had been together for some time, as such she had some understanding of what kind of person Ning Qing was. Ning Qing was definitely different from ordinary cultivators. Although Ning Qing's mouth was very fierce, and the way he handled things was also very unruly. However, Ning Qing's heart compared to those cultivators who pursued cultivation by hook or by crook, was simply as clean as a piece of white paper. If she could see it, then Su Yingde absolutely could see it, so she chose Ning Qing. Su Yingde might have truly liked Ning Qing, but she was more clear than anyone else about the cultivation methods of the Severing Emotions Tao sect. When a woman fell in love with a man, she would treat him with sincerity, without any pretense. She could even kill him if he wanted her. Only in this way, could she really make the other party fall in love with her, and make her fall in love with the other party. However, once she severed her emotions, it would be absolutely ruthless. Even if the two sides had gone through many life and death situations together, even if the two sides had a lot of emotional sustenance, once she severed her emotions, all of it would become ethereal and illusory. Yin Kongchan couldn't help but shiver. She lowered her head, and suddenly regretted letting Su Yingde participate in the search for the geocentric 9 Yin essence. The three people suddenly turned silent. Ning Qing did not know what to think, but after a while he asked, after you swallowed the burning life pill, is there any other way to recover? Su Yingde deeply looked at Ning Qing, but did not answer Ning Qing's words, as she turned around and slowly walked away. Yin Kongchan watched Su Yingde leave, and spoke in a soft voice. There are 2 ways for her to recover. The first is to find a rank 9 spiritual fruit frost sprout, and the second is to let her advance to the soul sculpting realm within 3 years. Su Yingde already has the cultivation of the great circle of the soul essence realm, as such advancing to the soul sculpting realm within 3 years is not something impossible. The meaning of Yin Kongchan's words was obviously that even if they were to look for the frost sprout, they would not be able to find such a thing. The only way was for Su Yingde to advance to the soul sculpting realm within 3 years. Frost sprout? Ning Qing repeated the words. Yin Kongchan nodded and spoke, yes, this spiritual fruit is called frost sprout. Its grade is not much lower than the underworld soul flower that you just obtained. According to the legends, it can even germinate in the middle of a great frost. Su Yingde is now equivalent to being hit by a great frost, as such it is possible to use the frost sprout to restore her. It's just that the frost sprout is extremely rare. It is simply a treasure that can only be found by luck. Thank you, I understand. Ning Qing finished, as he took a few steps forward, and arrived in front of Su Yingde and spoke, you follow behind me. If little Sun can feel any spiritual chi fluctuations, then you can tell me. N. Su Yingde obediently stood behind Ning Qing. Yin Kongchan, who followed behind, shook her head slightly, as she walked at the very back. The 3 people originally came here to look for the geocentric 9 Yin essence, but now that the 3 of them had their own thoughts, as such as they walked, they did not have any topics to talk about. Chapter 306. Ning Qing, if you really have a mirage tree, then using the materials from the mirage tree to refine a wooden box would be the best way to preserve the underworld soul flower. However, the value of the mirage tree is much more precious than the underworld soul flower. Yin Kongchan interrupted the silence between the three of them. What is the value of the mirage tree? Ning Cheng had a 9-colored mirage tree, but he did not know what the role of the mirage tree was. I heard that it has something to do with Dao charm. Only when one's cultivation reaches a certain level, would one be able to understand it. I am not very clear about it. Moreover, I heard that using the mirage tree for crafting artifacts, one can even craft magical weapons that surpass best quality true artifacts. Of course, no one would use this kind of thing for crafting artifacts. Yin Kongchan's words were very vague. It could be seen that in addition to knowing the value of the mirage tree, she did not know much about the specific value of the mirage tree. Su Yingde suddenly interjected, one of the functions of the mirage tree is to restore one's magic skills and Dao heart. Ning Cheng stopped and spoke, in that case, let's wait for a while, let me preserve the underworld soul flower. He understood the meaning of Su Yingde's words. Su Yingde wanted a branch of the mirage tree, it was definitely for her grandmother. However, Ning Cheng did not immediately take out such a thing, he wanted to thank Su Yingde for her efforts. However, gratitude was not love, he would help Su Yingde restore her original appearance, and then when they parted ways, he would leave her a branch. In the Hidden Mist Cemetery, although Ning Cheng's cultivation was the lowest, but his survival ability was undoubtedly the most powerful. When Ning Cheng requested for them to stop, Su Yingde and Yin Kongchan did not have any objections. Yin Kongchan even took the initiative to bring out a room, and arranged an array formation outside. Ning Cheng had a room to himself, while Yin Kongchan and Su Yingde shared a room. Even if their time was limited, and Ning Cheng wanted to waste some time to preserve the underworld soul flower, the two of them could not refute it. Ning Cheng first used the true Brahma sword to cut off a branch from the mirage tree. He could not use the mirage tree to refine a wooden box, but instead used the branch to make a rough wooden box. He then put the underworld soul flower into the wooden box, and then put it into a refined jade box, before engraving some restrictions on it. In order to preserve the underworld soul flower, Cheng wasted a day in this place. Although in the Hidden Mist Cemetery, the three people's time was extremely precious, as such Yin Kongchan and Su Yingde did not say anything. I suddenly thought of a problem. Your teleportation talisman is useless now. Even if we manage to obtain the geocentric 9 Yin essence, then how do we get out of this place? After Ning Cheng came out of the log cabin, the first thing he asked Yin Kongchan was how to get out of this place. Yin Kongchan casually spoke up, originally I had already prepared a way to get out of this place, but now even I am unable to get out. So after finding the geocentric 9 Yin essence, the three of us would have to depend on our own opportunities. If you're willing, then we can continue to team up. If not, then we'll go our separate ways. Ning Cheng did not refute it, now that he was already inside, regardless of whether he was dissatisfied with Yin Kongchan or not, there was no other way. The jade strip that Ning Cheng had thrown away only introduced the location of the geocentric 9 Yin essence in the Hidden Mist Cemetery, but it did not contain any detailed information about the location of the geocentric 9 Yin essence. As a result, even with the help of the seeking spiritual fox, by the 6th day, there was still not even the slightest trace of the geocentric 9 Yin essence. On the 7th day, Ning Cheng suddenly changed his direction. Moreover, as they walked, the number of Yin souls they encountered increased, and the number of times the three of them attacked also increased. This was something they had rarely encountered in the past few days. Although Yin Kongchan did not want to speak, but she could not help but ask, why did you suddenly change your direction? Previously when you were leading the way, you did not choose a path with fewer Yin souls. Why did you suddenly change it now? I don't think we can continue to look for it like this. I have never seen the geocentric 9 Yin essence before, but from the name, I can tell that this thing should have come out from the ground. I had always looked for a place with fewer Yin souls before, but this method is not right. If I choose a place with a lower terrain, then perhaps I might be able to encounter it by chance. Ning Cheng's answer could be said to be illogical, but the three of them did not have any other way, other than listening to Ning Cheng. They did not know what else to do. Perhaps in another 2 days, they would not be thinking about finding the geocentric 9 essence, but rather how to get out of this place. Ning Cheng continued to walk down the terrain for another 2 days, while more and more souls appeared along the way. We can't go on like this, we have to find a way back now, otherwise, we can only add 3 more skeletons to this place. As the 8th day was about to pass, Kongchan finally stopped. Ning Cheng looked at Kongchan indifferently and asked, "A way back? If you can figure out how to go back now, then I will go with you." Kongchan was suddenly at a loss for words. If she knew the way back, then she would have already prepared to go back. The geocentric 9 essence was very important to her, but no matter how important it was, she could not leave her life in this place. Xiaoxuan found a spiritual object. Su Yingde, who had been silent for the past few days, suddenly spoke out in a pleasant surprise. Su Yingde's words immediately stopped Kongchan and Ning Cheng's dispute, as they both looked at Su Yingde. Although spiritual fox Xiaoxuan had also found a spiritual object a few days ago, but that spiritual object was only an underworld soul flower. Regardless of whether it was the geocentric 9 essence or not, for a spiritual object to be found in this place, it was definitely not something ordinary. "You quickly lead the way." Kongchan spoke without hesitation. Not needing Kongchan to say anything, Su Yingde quickly walked out, while Ning Cheng and Kongchan quickly followed behind. After the time it took for an incense stick to burn, Ning Cheng suddenly called out to Su Yingde, "Don't go any further. We've already arrived, the location that Xiaoxuan pointed out is about 3 feet in front of us." Su Yingde stopped and pointed to a dark rock not far away. "There is nothing there." Kongchan looked at the empty space in front of them with a puzzled expression. Not waiting for Su Yingde to speak, Ning Cheng spoke out in a deep voice, "It is not that there is nothing here, as long as we go forward another 10 feet, we would enter a spirit groove." Since he had experienced the spirit groove, Ning Cheng had paid a lot of attention to spirit grooves. "You said that this place is a spirit groove?" "No," Xiaoxuan clearly said that there was a spiritual object here. Su Yingde could not believe it as she repeated the words. Ning Cheng nodded. Xiaoxuan should not be wrong. In the middle of the spirit groove, there is a natural concealment array formation entrance. This concealment array formation is a natural rank 7 array formation, which is equivalent to something arranged by a rank 8 array formation Grand Master. It is normal for you to not be able to see it. You can even recognize a rank 7 natural concealment array formation. Kongchan stared at Ning Cheng in shock. Even Su Yingde could not believe it as she stared at Ning Cheng. Cultivating a rank 7 array formation Grand Master required at least hundreds or even thousands of years, moreover it also required absolute talent. How old was Ning Cheng? Was this an old monster? Ning Cheng shook his head and spoke, "You don't have to look at me like that, although I am not a rank 7 array formation Grand Master, but I can enter the entrance of this concealment array formation." Although Ning Cheng was not a rank 7 array formation Grand Master, but he was a rank 6 array formation Grand Master. He was able to discover this array formation, and was able to quickly find the entrance to the array formation, all thanks to the Blood River Mountains and the bottom of the Blood River Mountains. He had deduced array formations at the bottom of the Blood River Mountains for several years. How could an ordinary array formation master compare to him? Before he obtained the mysterious yellow bead, Ning Cheng's memory and deduction ability were unparalleled. Coupled with the help of the mysterious yellow origin, his deduction of array formations for a few years was comparable to others who had continuously deduced for decades, or even hundreds of years. Although Ning Cheng said that he was not a rank 7 array formation Grand Master, but Kongchan and Su Yingde were still extremely shocked. Even if he was not a rank 7 array formation Grand Master, being able to enter a rank 7 natural concealment array formation, he was definitely not lower than a rank 6 array formation Grand Master. Moreover, this array formation Grand Master was not something that an ordinary array formation Grand Master could compare to. Ning Cheng looked at Yin Kongchan and Su Yingde and spoke, "There are two ways. I will take you in with me, but I will have to hold you, and will not be able to carry you with my hands. Second, I will go in alone, the two of you will wait for me here." "I will go in with you." Su Yingde spoke up just as Ning Cheng's voice fell. Yin Kongchan only hesitated for a moment, before following Su Yingde's words, "I will also go in with you." When Ning Cheng heard those words, he no longer spoke any nonsense, as he picked up Su Yingde and Yin Kongchan, one by one, and embraced them in his arms, while simultaneously rushing into the Yin spirit groove. Su Yingde and Yin Kongchan, the two of them, felt their bodies tighten, as they knew that Ning Cheng had already embraced them. The hearts of the two of them suddenly started to beat wildly. Even if they used their cultivation to suppress it, this kind of physiological change would not be able to suppress it. Do not look at the indifferent appearance of the two of them, even if they spoke without any taboos, but when they were really held in the arms of a man, they were still unable to remain calm. Sometimes saying it was one thing, but doing it was another. When Ning Cheng hugged the two of them, he did not think much about it, but when he held two soft to the extreme bodies in his arms, even if he deliberately did not think about it, some of his physiological reactions would still be involuntary. At this moment, he suddenly thought of Ji Luofei, and remembered the time when he and Luofei were hugging and kissing in that small rest stop. A heat rose from the bottom of his heart. Ning Cheng suddenly had a feeling that he could not wait to immediately tear off all the clothes of the woman in his arms. Boom boom. The innumerable Yin spirits were once again startled, and once again turned into a black fog, as they tried to wrap around Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng was startled in his heart. He understood that the after effects of cultivating in the small spiritual domain due to the yang qi burning his body had not yet completely disappeared. But at this moment of sobriety, how could he dare to continue to let his imagination run wild? His body was just like a fried dough twist, as he continuously spun around in the Yin spirit groove countless times. As Ning Cheng's body continued to spin, his figure, surrounded by the swarm of countless Yin spirits, gradually faded away, and soon disappeared. After the innumerable Yin spirits could no longer find Ning Cheng, they once again went into hiding. Yin Kongchan and Su Yingde were still in Ning Cheng's arms, causing Ning Cheng's body temperature to rise, causing him to gasp for breath, and even using his hands to hold the two of them even tighter. The two of them immediately felt it. Although they had not experienced this kind of thing, it did not mean that they did not understand it. Seeing Ning Cheng in such a state, they immediately knew what the reason was. Fortunately, this embarrassment did not last long, as Ning Cheng put the two of them down. Yin Kongchan's face faded, as she glanced at Ning Cheng and spoke, "I always thought that you were a saint, but it seems that you are not." Geocentric 9 Yin Essence. Su Yingde's surprised voice interrupted Ning Cheng's embarrassment and Yin Kongchan's words. Chapter 307. Ning Cheng and Yin Kongchan also saw the geocentric 9 Yin essence at the same time, although the three of them had never seen the geocentric 9 Yin essence before, but the moment they saw the geocentric 9 Yin essence, the three of them were sure that it was the thing they were looking for. Ning Cheng had always thought that the geocentric 9 Yin essence was a kind of geocentric essence liquid that seeped out from the underground rocks, but today he came to know that the geocentric 9 Yin essence was actually condensed from a plant. In front of the three of them, there was a bare mountain peak, and at the foot of the mountain peak, there was only some gravel. The mountain peak was gray in color, and was several tens of feet high. At the top of the mountain, there was a 3 feet tall plant with only a single leaf on it. This plant looked like a sunflower, with a round fruit at the top, the round fruit bending the plant down. Below the fruit, there was a drop of red liquid that had yet to drip. The three of them could clearly see it with their spiritual consciousness, and knew that this red liquid was the geocentric 9 Yin essence. At this time, there was a stone trough at the bottom of the plant, which was already half filled with this red liquid. But this stone trough was very small. Even if it was half filled, it would at most contain 2 to 3 bottles. I really did not think that the geocentric 9 essence would actually seep out from a plant. Ning Qing sighed, before he suddenly thought of something, as he looked back at Yin Kongchan and spoke. You said that in order to obtain the geocentric 9 essence, we would need the twin wings of the heavenly clouds, but this place does not require the twin wings of the heavenly clouds. Yin Kongchan spoke in a light voice, that is because you did not disturb the plant that condenses the geocentric 9 essence. Once it is disturbed, this bare mountain peak would immediately turn into an incomparably cold icicle. Not to mention our cultivation, even if it was someone with the cultivation of sea opening realm, standing on this mountain peak would immediately turn them into ice. Moreover. As she spoke the word moreover, Yin Kongchan stared into Ning Cheng's eyes. As she spoke one word at a time, there is only one chance to obtain the geocentric 9 essence. You must completely extract the geocentric 9 essence from the stone trough before this mountain peak turns into an icicle. Otherwise, it would be tantamount to us coming here in vain. Once you disturb the small tree that condenses the geocentric 9 essence, even if it is the geocentric 9 essence in the stone trough, it would still freeze into nothingness. Ning Cheng understood the meaning of Yin Kongchan's words, as he asked in shock, in other words, even if I have the twin wings of the heavenly clouds, I would only have one chance to obtain it. As long as you go and obtain it, wouldn't it also alarm the plant that is condensing the geocentric 9 essence? That's right, you only have one chance. Moreover, you have to be as fast as possible. If we stand here for too long, it would definitely startle that plant. Yin Kongchan looked at the plant on the summit and spoke with a sigh. Ning Cheng did not ask again, but took out 2 jade bottles and held them in his hands. He estimated that the geocentric 9 essence in the stone trough could only fill 2 jade bottles. After he was ready, Ning Cheng took a few steps forward, and suddenly vigorously stimulated the twin wings of the heavenly clouds. A kind of icy chill seeped out from the foot of the bare mountain peak. Ning Cheng immediately felt it. This originally dark and bare mountain peak, at this moment, unexpectedly exuded a layer of white frost. At the same time, a kind of horrifying chill directly rushed towards Ning Cheng, as if in the next moment it would freeze Ning Cheng's twin wings of the heavenly clouds. Not good, he had already startled that plant. Moreover, this kind of icy chill was also coming from below. Once the geocentric 9 essence in the stone trough froze, then even taking such a big risk to come here, it would only be for naught. Ning Cheng crazily stimulated the twin wings of the heavenly clouds, as he rushed upwards. In the distance, Yin Kongchan and Su Yingde were shocked as they looked at the bare mountain peak. From the bottom of the mountain peak to the top, it gradually turned white, just like flowing water. This kind of icy chill coming from below made the two of them incomparably nervous. If it was in an ordinary place, then Ning Cheng would only need to casually stimulate the twin wings of the heavenly clouds to cover a distance of several dozen feet. But in this place, every time he stimulated the twin wings of the heavenly clouds, he could feel the endless icy cold pressure. Moreover, the space around him felt as if it was frozen by the icy cold emanating from the bare mountain peak, which made him feel as if he was in a pot of extremely viscous sugar. When the cold air invaded Ning Cheng's feet, it even condensed a layer of white frost on his feet, causing Ning Cheng's heart to tighten. He knew that if this cold air reached the summit a step ahead of him, then it would be tantamount to what Yin Kongchan had said, that he would have come here in vain. Thinking of this, Ning Cheng's blood suddenly started to boil. Even the remnant poisonous yang qi from the small spiritual domain in his body also started to stir up. At this moment, the layer of white frost on his feet instantly turned into nothing. Yin Kongchan and Su Yingde were very familiar with this hot yang qi. Not long ago, when they had been hugged by Ning Cheng's body had also exuded a similar hot aura. Yin Kongchan understood in an instant that Ning Cheng had deliberately hugged her a moment ago. It seems that it was because of the influence of this aura. As the chill at Ning Cheng's feet disappeared, his speed once again increased a bit. After vigorously stimulating the twin wings of the heavenly clouds a few times, Ning Cheng was finally able to see the stone trough. At this time, Ning Cheng did not even think about it, as he directly picked up the geocentric 9-yin essence from the stone trough and put it into the 2 jade bottles, while simultaneously putting the jade bottles back into his ring. Just as Ning Cheng put the jade bottles into his ring, the terrifying icy cold aura swept over. A vast expanse of white cold air completely wrapped around Ning Cheng and the mountain peak that Ning Cheng was standing on. Ning Cheng's twin wings of the heavenly clouds seemed to have frozen solid, and could no longer be used. The next moment, Ning Cheng fell down like a kite with a broken string. Ning Cheng was greatly shocked in his heart, but the more he fell, the heavier the icy cold became. He could not even make any movements, even his consciousness started to blur. Su Yingde and Yin Kongchan, almost at the same time, immediately rushed up. Bang! Ning Cheng smashed into the hands of the two people, causing the two of them to directly fall to the ground, causing the three of them to fall together. From a height of several dozen feet, even with two great circle of soul essence cultivators joining hands, they unexpectedly were not able to completely catch Ning Cheng, and even caused the three of them to fall together. Ka. At this moment, Ning Cheng's bones started to crack, as if icicles were being cracked, and were clearly visible. Yin Kongchan picked up Ning Cheng with difficulty, and spoke to Su Yingde, "Let's hurry up, the cold air in this place is getting heavier and heavier, and will eventually turn all three of us into icicles." Su Yingde knew that the situation was urgent, and also reluctantly got up, as she stumbled behind Yin Kongchan, and quickly escaped from this terrifying grey mountain peak. As the three of them went further away, the surrounding cold air was getting less and less, and finally no longer had any effect on them. Yin Kongchan and Su Yingde were originally at the foot of the mountain, as such their situation was much better than Ning Cheng's. Ning Cheng's cultivation was the lowest, moreover he had to bear the brunt of the impact, as such when he fell from the top of the mountain, his 5 viscera and 6 bowels were almost completely frozen. At this time, being able to keep his body intact, it was already because of Yin Kongchan's speed, otherwise his body would have already cracked from the cold. "Is Ning Cheng alright?" Su Yingde wiped the trace of blood from the corner of her mouth, as she nervously asked. Yin Kongchan looked at Ning Cheng, and spoke with a frown, "His situation is somewhat serious, moreover he has completely lost consciousness." Saying that, Yin Kongchan looked around, and once again spoke, "Don't you think that this place is very strange? Not only is the spiritual consciousness 10 times stronger than it was in the Hidden Mist Cemetery, but it is also incomparably spacious." Su Yingde gave an sound, but did not directly answer Yin Kongchan's question, rather she pointed to Ning Cheng in Yin Kongchan's hands and spoke, "You give him to me, I can use my true essence to help him." Yin Kongchan did not hand Ning Cheng over to Su Yingde, but spoke in a cold voice, "Even if you want to sever your emotions, you will have to wait for Ning Cheng to wake up. Now that Ning Cheng is seriously injured, I don't feel at ease handing him over to you." Su Yingde spoke up in a sad voice, "I was even willing to swallow the burning life pill for him, why would I want to harm him? Even if I wanted to sever my emotions, he does not even like me, so why would I go and sever my emotions?" Yin Kongchan still spoke in a calm voice, "If you were not Su Yingde, then I would have believed it, but unfortunately, you are called Su Yingde." Su Yingde also calmed down, as she calmly looked at Yin Kongchan and spoke, "If you also like him, then I will not compete with you, but you at least have to let me try, to see if I can save Ning Cheng." Yin Kongchan spoke with an indifferent voice, "There is no need to use so much scheming between the two of us. In the past, your ancestor Su Binglan and my ancestor Sang Yen both liked the Heavenly Tao Academy's Yen Fenghua, this kind of thing will never happen a second time. You can rest assured, the reason why I saved Ning Cheng is because Ning Cheng saved me a few times, it is the same reason why you used the burning life pill to save Ning Cheng. I do not like Ning Cheng, so when Ning Cheng recovers, you can go ahead and sever your emotions. Now that you can use your true essence to help Ning Cheng, I can also do the same. Your surname is Yin." Su Yingde's tone turned cold. Yin Kongchan did not care about it, as she still spoke in a calm voice, My master is the Floating Snow Palace's 7th Palace Master Sang Jeju. She is also my mother. I do not want to continue to follow my mother's surname. Is it not possible for me to follow my father's surname? Seeing Su Yingde remain silent, Yin Kongchan suddenly spoke up, before Ning Qing wakes up, you will always be with me, whether or not I will do anything to Ning Qing, you can also see it clearly. As the two people spoke until here, they unexpectedly thought of the same thing. Then the two people looked at each other, and did not speak anymore. When Ning Qing woke up, he found himself sleeping alone on a couch in a small room. He was startled in his heart, as he quickly jumped up and sat up. At the same time, he stretched out his spiritual consciousness, causing his spiritual consciousness to instantly extend to a distance of a few thousand meters. Moreover, he was still in the space where he collected the geocentric 9 Yin essence. Ning Qing immediately understood. When he had entered this space before, he immediately knew that his spiritual consciousness had expanded a lot. Not only that, but there was also no corpse mist qi in this place. Ning Qing soon discovered that a person was missing. Not only was there a person missing, but Su Yingde, who was left outside the room, was covered in blood and lying on the ground. Yin Kongchan's figure had disappeared without a trace, at least within the range of his spiritual consciousness, he could not find Yin Kongchan. Ning Qing quickly got up, rushed out of the room, and helped Su Yingde up. After discovering that Su Yingde was only seriously injured, he felt relieved in his heart, as he quickly took out a healing pill and put it into Su Yingde's mouth. After a few breaths, Su Yingde opened her eyes. As she saw Ning Qing, she immediately spoke up in surprise, "You woke up? Thank you very much. What happened? How come I did not see Yin Kongchan?" Ning Qing knew that although Su Yingde's injuries were not light, but with the help of his pill, such injuries were nothing. Chapter 308. I don't know, when you were lying on the bed, you were not awake, and I was injured because of the cold, and was healing myself. Later when I opened my eyes, I saw Yin Kongchan sitting beside you looking at your hand. I quickly asked her what happened. Suddenly I felt a pain in my back, someone sneak attacked me from behind. Because I was seriously injured by the cold, I did not notice it. When I woke up, the first thing I saw was you. Speaking till here, Su Yingde's face suddenly changed, apparently she also knew that Yin Kongchan seemed to have met with a disaster. My ring is gone. Ning Qing seemed to have discovered that the ring in his hand had disappeared, and spoke up in shock. Ah! Su Yingde on hearing that Ning Qing's ring had disappeared, was even more surprised than Ning Qing. Immediately grabbing her hand, she spoke up in a somewhat sad voice, "My ring is also gone." For a cultivator, in this kind of place, to lose their ring, it really was not a good thing. Ning Qing secretly sighed in his heart, if someone really sneak attacked Su Yingde, and then took away Yin Kongchan, how could they leave the two of them alive? Ning Qing suddenly felt that this scene was very familiar. When he was studying in Jiangzhou, he liked to read Jin Yong's novels. This scene, he had seen it in the novels. Wasn't this Su Yingde similar to that Lady Zhao? The only difference was that he was not that elder brother Zhang who did not have many schemes. Fortunately, the ring was not taken away. Ning Qing picked up the ring from the ground in fear, and then put it on his hand. No one knew that he had two rings in his hand, one of which he had engraved a concealment array formation restriction, which was also his miniature world. This ring could only be sensed by him, others would not be able to see it. As for the other ring, it was just an ordinary ring. Only an expert in the Tao of array formations, and a cultivator with a very powerful cultivation, would be able to see his other concealment ring. Once his concealment ring was seen by others, then his attainments in array formations would also be exposed. Although there were not many people who could see through the rank 6 array formation engraved on the ring, but it did not mean that there were none. When Ning Qing first met Rui Baishan, his concealment ring had already been seen through by Rui Baishan. Because of his ring, Rui Baishan knew that Ning Qing was an array formation expert, but Rui Baishan did not mention it. Also because Ning Cheng did not lose his miniature world, although Ning Cheng had a shocked look on his face. In fact, he did not worry too much. Looks like they've been planning this for a long time. Ning Cheng gave a cold snort and put the ring back on, but the next moment Ning Cheng took off the ring that he had just put on. No, this ring is not mine. This time Ning Cheng was not pretending, he really thought that the ring that fell to the ground was his, but he did not think that this ring really was not his. At this time, he was really scared. Fortunately, he had 2 rings, one real and one fake. It was also because he had not used this fake ring that he did not notice it immediately. After a good while, Su Yingde finally reacted and quickly asked, "Are all of your things inside the ring?" Ning Cheng did not answer, he was silent for a long time, before he suddenly spoke up, "Could it be that Yin Kong Chan did it?" Su Yingde immediately spoke up with affirmation, "No, when I was attacked, Yin Kong Chan was sitting by your bed, it was definitely not her." "Does Yin Kong Chan have a puppet?" "When we were riding the shuttle, it was her puppet that controlled it." Ning Cheng asked again. Su Yingde's complexion changed, as she seemed to have thought of this puppet. After a while, she still shook her head and spoke, "It's not her. If it was her, then she would have already succeeded. Why would she leave the 2 of us behind?" Speaking till here, Su Yingde suddenly stopped, as she looked at Ning Cheng with some shock. Although she did not say it, Ning Cheng understood what she meant, that there was a 4th person here. Ning Cheng also did not speak, although Su Yingde affirmed that it was not Yin Kong Chan who did it, but her tone was pointing towards Yin Kong Chan. The only thing that could not be justified was why Yin Kong Chan did not kill the 2 of them in the end. Unless there really was a 4th person, but even if there really was a 4th person, it still could not be justified. On the contrary, the possibility of it being done by Yin Kong Chan was much higher. Yin Kong Chan had taken away Ning Cheng's ring, as she was grateful to Ning Cheng for saving her several times. As such, she left Ning Cheng's life intact. Even because she obtained the geocentric 9 Yin essence, she did not even take away Ning Cheng's twin wings of the heavenly clouds. Would Yin Kong Chan really have a talisman to leave this place? Ning Cheng asked again, but did not mention anything about the ring. Although Ning Cheng asked Su Yingde, he was very clear in his heart that it was definitely not done by Yin Kong Chan. After Su Yingde was seriously injured, there was nothing suspicious about her being sneak attacked by the puppet. However, Yin Kong Chan spared Su Yingde, which he could not figure out. Yin Kong Chan might have let Ning Cheng go, but she would never let Su Yingde go. Moreover, Ning Cheng was very clear as to why he woke up, it was because Yin Kong Chan had hugged him when he fell down. At that time, he still had a little bit of consciousness, and at that moment, he remembered Rui Baishan's words. In times of need, one must believe in the friends around them, that is the only thing that can help you. He did not struggle, struggling at this time was not much different from suicide, he chose to believe in Yin Kong Chan. In fact, he did not do anything wrong, the injuries in his body were healed by Yin Kong Chan's true essence, in other words, Yin Kong Chan had really helped him. Yin Kong Chan and Su Yingde, he knew that the true essence of the 2 people were completely different. "I just hope that Yin Kong Chan is alright." Su Yingde spoke with a sigh, she not only put aside the matter of her ring, but was also somewhat worried about Yin Kong Chan. Ning Cheng looked at Su Yingde with a puzzled expression, "Your relationship with Yin Kong Chan does not seem to be very good." Su Yingde lowered her head, and only spoke after a long time, "Because I also learned not long ago that she and I are related by blood, my ancestor and her ancestor are the same person, I do not want anything to happen to her." After listening to Su Yingde's words, Ning Cheng nodded, and did not continue to ask about it. Su Yingde's words were not so much worried about Yin Kong Chan, but rather to find a good reason for Yin Kong Chan not to kill her. Ning Cheng just spoke, "My injuries have already begun to recover, let's find a way to leave this place, we must leave this place as soon as possible." No matter what Su Yingde did to Yin Kong Chan, even taking away his fake ring, Ning Cheng could not do anything to Su Yingde. A few days ago, if not for Su Yingde burning her lifespan to save him, then perhaps he would have already fallen into the Black Lake. Although that transfer talisman was his only life-saving measure, but who knows if it would really work. No matter what Su Yingde thought at that time, she had paid a price that was almost equivalent to her life to save him. Ning Qing clearly distinguished between gratitude and grudges. Kindness was kindness. In any case, he would help Su Yingde restore her lifespan, or help Su Yingde advance to the soul-sculpting realm. As Ning Cheng and Su Yingde left the place, he immediately spread out his spiritual consciousness. He wanted to find out if there was an exit from this place. Regardless of whether he could get out or not, he could not return to the Hidden Mist Cemetery for the time being. The Hidden Mist Cemetery was filled with poisonous fog, and they currently did not have any barrier-dispelling pills. The two people had only walked for the time it took for half an incense stick to burn, when Ning Cheng's footsteps came to a stop. At the edge of his spiritual consciousness, there was unexpectedly a familiar figure. Yin Kongchan. The next moment, Ning Cheng was able to determine that this familiar figure was Yin Kongchan. Seeing Yin Kongchan fall to the ground, Ning Cheng immediately sped up. It's Yin Kongchan. After approaching Yin Kongchan, Su Yingde spoke out in a trembling voice. Yin Kongchan's face was also extremely pale, and her body was also covered in blood. Moreover, it looked like her injuries were even more serious than Su Yingde's. Ning Cheng did not hesitate to step forward and help Yin Kongchan up, while simultaneously throwing a pill into Yin Kongchan's mouth. Ning Cheng's healing pills were refined by himself, although the grade was not high, but the quality was several times better than other pills of the same grade. In just a dozen breaths, Yin Kongchan opened her eyes. After she saw Ning Cheng, she breathed a sigh of relief, closed her eyes, and continued to heal herself. After saving Yin Kongchan, Ning Cheng felt that Su Yingde did not panic much. He suddenly had some doubts about his own judgment. Was it really not Su Yingde's doing? Another hour passed by. Yin Kongchan finally stood up, nodded to Ning Cheng and spoke, "Thank you for saving me once again. I'll have to change my clothes first." Saying that, Yin Kongchan casually activated a simple concealment restriction. With this kind of restriction, Ning Cheng could vaguely see the situation inside with his eyes. Ning Cheng turned his head. He did not have the mind to peep at Yin Kongchan. Ning Cheng really noticed that the injuries on Yin Kongchan's body were not caused by Su Yingde's blue sword, causing him to become even more confused in his heart. After the time it took for half an incense stick to burn, Yin Kongchan put away the restriction, and once again changed into a clean light yellow robe. Other than her pale complexion, and her somewhat unstable aura, there did not seem to be anything special about her. "I met a kind of monstrous beast here. This kind of monstrous beast comes and goes without a trace. I did not pay attention to it, and ended up seriously injured by the monstrous beast's sneak attack." Yin Kongchan took the initiative to explain, but did not say why she appeared in this place alone. Ning Cheng suddenly spoke up, "Yin Kongchan, I'm sorry, but I have no way to give you the geocentric 9 Yin essence, because my ring was taken away." Yin Kongchan's face immediately turned gloomy, and only after a while did she speak up, "If I had it then I would have been lucky, if I lost it then it would have been my fate. Since I obtained it in my hands, and then lost it again, it shows that I am destined to have an incomplete soul essence. Why did you appear here?" Ning Cheng did not ask Yin Kongchan if she had taken away his ring, but rather asked Yin Kongchan why she appeared in a place thousands of meters away from them. If not for his powerful spiritual consciousness, he would have never been able to find Yin Kongchan. "After I helped you recuperate with my true essence." Yin Kongchan had only spoken half a sentence, when a roaring sound that almost suppressed her heart swept over them. The next moment, the three of them simultaneously saw a funnel-shaped black vortex with a radius of several hundred feet sweeping towards them. This funnel-shaped black vortex was extremely terrifying, and its speed was incomparably fast. In just a breath, it had already arrived in front of the three of them. "Hurry up and escape." Ning Cheng gave a loud shout, as he immediately stimulated the twin wings of the heavenly clouds. However, Before he could even unfurl the twin wings of the heavenly clouds, the next moment he, Yin Kongchan and Su Yingde, the three of them, were simultaneously swept away by this extremely terrifying funnel-shaped black vortex, before disappearing without a trace from this place. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.